we can kind of watch the level over here, you know. So
Hey,
I think headphones.
Hey.
So you're on the bottom, Phillip. I'm in the middle, and Ben's on the top. Hey.
I'm on the bottom.
Yep. You're
Great.
power bottom.
Yep.
What's fucked up about that situation is that Ben is in the middle.
Yeah, true.
God damn it.
Yeah. He didn't even think
God
about it.
damn it.
No, I'm in the middle.
At least I got a 50-50 shot at this.
I'm actually in the middle.
I've been working my escapes. We're good.
Your escapes were good today, man.
You know, that's basically, I feel like all I do half the time in jiu-jitsu is escape. And I don't know if that's a good or bad thing, but I really feel like half the time, all I do is escape.
I
Like,
spend a lot of time playing guard, man. I gotta start trying to get back on top again.
and you know, the reason I say it makes me think: am I putting myself in these? Am I constantly putting myself in these situations, or are other people just getting that good and making me go in these? And I don't know the answer to that, but
I think it is. Yeah, it's got a red light on it. All right. Yeah, we're going. So, let me get a good. Let me get some. Man, this fucking. Yeah. Fancy. All right, what's it doing? There we go.
Meanwhile, Barrett's adjusting his rod.
Yeah. There we go. Fucking, it's
You gotta get it straight.
Can't get it straight. It won't stay. Look, it's like. All right, that'll work. Here we go. So we're recording on that. Let me get a good 1, 2, 3. Woo! All right, we're good. That'll
Cool.
line it up good. All right, y'all start. What were y'all talking about? What do we-
jiu-jitsu, I feel like half the time, like here recently, last few months at least, I feel like I spend half of my time just escaping stuff. Like maybe I'm putting myself in these bad situations, or other people are able to put me in the situations, but I feel like I'm just spending most of my time just escaping.
Yeah, I got you.
And I don't know
And
that
you're
that's a
pretty
good or bad
much
thing.
escaping everything, so...
Yeah, you're good
I mean,
at it.
it's not a bad thing, but I was just trying to figure out: am I doing this, or other people doing this? Is that a good thing, showing that other people are putting me in these terrible situations? I'm just having to escape them, or am I somehow mentally putting myself in bad situations? Whereas to start the rolls, anybody below purple belt and half the purple belts, half the time, I'll tell them, look, you're gonna get inside control. You're gonna get my back, full hooks, get whatever. I don't give a shit. Like Tyler, I told him, if you want, you can get a choke locked in. I don't care. Let's start however you want, and then I have to escape it. Just because that's how I want to start with lower belts.
Yeah.
Just because I think that that's going to build my game so much more. And like you got to really, you saw the transition earlier today we were playing, and he got a rear naked real quick.
Yes.
And we were almost to the wall. And I don't know, I forget the transition before that, but he locked in a rear naked. I think he was a slight angle, and that's the only reason I survived that, because that was super tight. And
I don't know if I got that on tape, but I barely remember. Like right when I got there, or something.
because your back was to the glass, and we were all the way against the wall.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, that was super fucking tight.
I may have gotten that.
And if you hadn't adjusted, yeah, I might have had to tap to that. But you adjusted a little bit, and I just sort of toughed it out because it wasn't cranking anything. But yeah, that was pretty tight. Anyways, point of all that.
I shouldn't have let it go.
No. There
remember-
was that,
you
and there was
remember it.
another one you shouldn't have let go too. I can't remember what it was though. But it was the armbar. Wasn't it because we were twisting, and we talked about that right afterwards.
I just let that go.
You've been letting go rather, and we talked about
Right.
loosening or adjusting rather than letting go completely. Let's figure out what we need to adjust if we have the time and the wherewithal. Okay, I need to adjust how. Let's figure this out from there.
You armbarred me today, didn't you? Was that you that armbarred me, or was that you? One of
No.
y'all did.
No,
It was
Ben did. Yeah.
Woohoo.
Yeah, good one.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was a
You're
good
welcome.
one too.
Do you have that one recorded?
Yes.
Okay, sweet. I want to see some of those at some point. But yeah, you're speaking of escapes, man. That was the first thing I noticed when I walked, because y'all were already going when I got there, and when I walked in, I was just kind of watching y'all, like getting my shit out and all that, and I was like, man, Ben is just so good at not letting you get a position really on him. I mean, as soon as, pretty much, as soon as he had something on you, you were moving away. You weren't letting. He wasn't just quite getting to side control. Wasn't just quite getting to your back. Wasn't just quite getting. You know what I mean? You were just very good, and then just framing and getting out from underneath shit, man.
That's
I mean,
cool.
my jiu-jitsu is more like, okay, I'm bigger than a lot of people, so if they get on top of me, I'm just gonna pull. I'm gonna be like lazy kind of and pull guard, because I love working from guard. That's just.
But your guard is so super tight. Your closed guard, I have a hard time getting out of it.
Yeah.
I think last time we rolled, I asked you to
starting guard.
start and guard.
Yeah,
and that was a mistake.
Well, I read something one time, and I think I've even talked about this on the podcast. It was like if you're 200 or above, you should have a great guard, and the reason was because you can let most people just lay on you, and it's not a big deal. You know what I mean? So he was like, you should be good off your back because you can take the people laying. Most people now, sure, your knee and belly is totally different, even though I got 20 pounds on you, all that stuff, but it was just kind of the idea that if you're bigger than most people, then being on the bottom is not that big of a deal. So make sure you get good at it. You know what I mean? Just, I was like, oh, that's a good idea. And I was kind of lazy anyway, so lay on my back.
That's your rest position.
Yeah. But man, yeah. And I'm getting, I'm trying to work. I'm trying to be busy.
Yes.
Chokes, arm bars, setting up the omoplata, sweeps. I mean, I'm constantly trying to move, I feel like I am,
Yeah. And that's a couple of things that one can teach, I think, to a white belt or blue belt is what reasons we do guard. Why are we doing guard? It's range management. It's a rest. It's to figure out your game. Like you said, you like to be active. And you're active so that you can figure out your game, meaning, am I better at Kimuras? Just naturally, do I naturally go for those more? Do I see them more? Do my grips fit that? Does that fit the rest of my game? And if you sit in guard, then you get to learn, like I said, there's more than just those three, but you get to learn all these things about guard, and that helps develop your game because if you see where you're good at guard, you get to see where you're good at in half guard, and it might not be the same thing. And that's really interesting when someone's really good at Kimuras from guard, which you would assume that would translate over, but maybe they're not. Maybe they're good at leg locks from half guard. And then from side controller, it's something completely different. That's real fun to see those dynamics in someone's game, to me.
Yeah. It was fun. Well, like I said at the end of it, I mean, one of the things I suck at is passing Phillip's guard.
Yes, Phillip has. I think he's developed a real good butterfly.
Oh, it's amazing, dude! People. It's like so fucking hard to get past it. And I suck at it. I'm clunky when I'm trying to stand up because I'd rather be already down on top of you or in guard. You know what I'm saying? Like if it's just jiu-jitsu. It's so hard to get past your guard. So that's why when you were like, I want to start in your guard, I was like, oh, okay, because you're usually lately I'm trying to pass, which is good because I suck at it, so I need to work on it. But you're so good at holding it, so pretty much you're just like, I'm just threatening to be swept the whole fucking time while we're rolling. But I like just starting it over because I like working from guard. I know you're strong, and I want to see, can I hold you in my guard? You know what I'm saying?
You held me.
Yeah, for a while. I mean, eventually.
You held me, and then you ended up mounting me.
Swept you or something?
The last
it's so weird.
roll,
it's like I don't even really remember.
The last roll, dude.
I swept you. I remember sweeping you.
I was locked in your guard. I could not get out. Finally, you got me in a triangle, like kind of like I think the same triangle that Ben had gotten me in earlier.
Yeah.
And then that's whenever you swept me and you were on top. You mounted me. And you ended up finishing, I think, with a triangle. I ended up tapping.
I don't remember.
But that was over beside the desk. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
The desk. It's funny how we roll all over the fucking place. Like the less
we start in the middle, and then it goes. But isn't it awesome though to have the whole gym to yourself?
Fun. And it's kind of
nice.
fun.
You can just kind of roll around and not worry about. Because you always have to keep in mind there are other people in the gym, and when it's just you and somebody else on the mat, like the only person you can run into is the cameraman. And I was almost that asshole twice today.
You know what I like about having other people on the mat, and I hope that never ever bites me, but I like having other people on the mat in a way, and this is something I didn't notice until like into jiu-jitsu a little bit, where you get very aware of, you're struggling with somebody else, but you can also kind of have this, it feels sometimes like a sixth sense, like you see something that's about to somebody, I know Phillip's about to sweep him or whatever, and they're coming this way, even though I'm totally focused on murdering this person I'm rolling with.
It enhances your situational awareness.
Your situational awareness. Yeah, you know what I mean? I don't even have to really look. I can almost feel like I can see the peripheral. And that's enough information for me to know what's going on a lot of the time.
You can also process the peripheral too, because you're not really focused in. I don't really focus in on my opponent. Like I'm kind of looking off to the side or kind of around them and anticipating through their movements what they're going to do more than. Like you said earlier, you were like, I rolled with you half the time I had my eyes closed. And I was like, oh, okay. So you're kicking my ass with your eyes closed.
That wasn't meant to be condescending.
It's okay. You gotta hear that shit.
Yeah.
You gotta understand that there's levels to this shit.
Tim Mohan the other day said to me, we were leaving, and he was like, I know when everybody says that I'm a good wrestler, it's a compliment, but he's like, it makes me feel like I never do jiu-jitsu, kind of. You know what I mean? Because we're always like, you're such a good fucking wrestler. And he's like, hey, man, I do jiu-jitsu too, right? Like, so he's like, I've been trying to work on my bottom game so that people can start, he was like, I know it's a compliment. And I was like, yeah, of course it's a compliment. I mean, we wish, a lot of us wish we could wrestle like you do. He's like, well, I didn't wrestle that much, only like through high school. And then like, I think he said he wrestled in college too, maybe. I don't remember. A couple of, just a couple championships or whatever. I was like, yeah. That's a couple more than I ever even had thought about doing, man. So, and he is so good at that stuff. You know what I mean? It's hard not to compliment him. But the other day I was trying to pass his guard, and I was like, this is weird. You know what I mean? Like, this is normally not what we do. It's normally he's on my legs, and I'm trying to get like hooks or X or something weird on him because I can't just pull him into traditional guard usually, and I have to get something else on him. Yeah. And he's passing and usually does and smashes me.
And that's why
our ankle locks me.
Yeah. But I would urge people to start in different positions versus sometimes start on the knees, slap the hands, but sometimes just, all right, you're going to be in my guard because we're never in that position. I'm never in that. Or, you know what I'm saying?
Especially with
whoever
somebody,
it is. Yeah, change different people's. But I've been doing that a lot, and I would suggest that as well. Just
it makes sense. I mean, I do it every now and then, but probably should focus on it for a while. Like, I'm almost never have anybody on my back because I just hate getting there with them. So I've just developed a way that don't get on my back. You know what I mean? And then when somebody finally does, I'm kind of like, oh, fuck, I just kind of shake around, you know what I mean? Like, I have some basics, but...
Well, so you should really start with them on your back because you've already got the game of stopping them from getting to your back. So now you have to worry about escaping. What if that one dude can get on your back? You've got to be able to escape. Yeah. So that's what I would start doing.
Maybe I'll do that all the time.
I'd be more than happy to
start
help you out with that.
Okay, sure, man. You'd be a good candidate for it, too. Yeah, man. Whew. Yeah, because we did that today, I think, me and you.
Yeah, I did that to both y'all. I made y'all start, like, in somebody's guard or whatever it was. I can't remember the position. Somebody got my back.
I think it was me. I'm almost positive it was me.
Know. Whoever it was, I think, finished me pretty quick, or maybe not. Or no, that's when you got close, really close. And I was like, son of a bitch, I shouldn't have started here. But I got out and we kept going, so it wasn't all for naught, right?
It was fun.
It was very fun. I appreciated that.
Yeah, it was fun, just us at open mat,
Yeah.
So... Yeah, I don't know. It was still fun though.
So what we were talking about the other day in the van?
We were talking about. Well, go ahead. You brought it up. I'll let you.
No, I'm trying to remember. It was something about ants.
Us being the difference of ants and bees. Like ants make and how ant mounds, ant piles, or whatever. That's what they do. And bees make beehives and make honey. That's what they do. Humans make civilizations. That's what we do, or whatever. But what's the difference? Where is the hierarchy? And we talked about how there's.
We were trying.
I don't remember what we got into. It was an interesting conversation.
Was it intelligence? Was it life? Was it consciousness? Is something?
Consciousness. We started talking about consciousness. This is why we were working the other day.
What was the question?
Hierarchies themselves. Is that where you're going with this? As far as
because
bees organize, ants organize. You have different classes of each type of insect. You have the worker bee,
and that's what he was talking about. Was the worker, like in ants or bees for that matter? You have the workers. The workers are never anything else. But in humans, you can be. You can go from being a hobo, with nothing in their pocket, find a toothpick, go trade it for something, and eventually become a millionaire.
But can you though?
I mean,
there is the rare exception.
You
right?
can definitely.
It happens.
Yeah,
it happens. But is it the norm for someone who's homeless to?
Well, no, it's not the norm.
Right, it's the exception.
But it's possible.
It is.
And there's two things there. Does that actually change what that person is? Because are they still just a worker bee? Is the question, or have they changed their moniker in life somehow? And some people would. Some people, like we said, some people, you win the lottery, you're a fucking millionaire, you've changed completely. Some people mow through that shit in 4 months and now they're broke. So they haven't changed their moniker because they didn't change their mindset. Yeah. Makes sense? So if let's call them a hobo again, if they can trade up and then become a millionaire and through that process change their mindset, they could potentially change from a worker bee to whatever else. I don't know anything else that the bees are besides soldiers. So
you think it's intelligence that separates us from, because we can, even though we have a fairly static environment, it's very dynamic, but it's pretty set.
I was
It's established.
borderline on self-reflection, is what sort of. But we wanted to get your opinion on it, and I was trying to remember my.
But you're saying that, like, as human beings, we can self-observe, and then we can make changes in our behaviors that drive us in certain directions, either for the positive or the negative. So bees, they only know one behavior. Yeah. They're probably down to, I don't know how many neurons a bee has. We've got billions. Bees probably have less than us, so there's less information potential for pathways to develop, where their behaviors are pretty much locked into this very tight framework, and for us it's a little bit more exploratory and dynamic. So we have, I don't want to say that bees aren't conscious, though, because I feel
that's what we were talking about.
Yeah.
We were like, when is it consciousness?
I think that has to maybe do with intelligence, and also maybe just a combination of physiological differences too, because we're bipedal, we have hands, we can do things, create tools. It's allowed us to advance our civilization over time, whereas a bee, I mean, what's a bee going to do that's over a billion years, or let's say a million years for that matter, that's going to change very much from what it's doing today? I mean, maybe so. Maybe some crazy environmental pressure creates a whole new species of bees, and then they develop something that's, we're not even able to even
fathom right
now. Right.
Huh. Yeah, but we kind of touched on that very, very quickly, sort of what you're saying, but it was more along the lines of, okay, so there's way less, let's call them like caste systems in beedom than there is in the human world. There's everybody.
Think, though? Because
I don't know. It seems like it. Like, just there's workers and there's there's soldiers. There's a queen.
But there's really no crossover where there isn't humans, right? Is that what you were saying earlier? Is that there's like a worker bee is not going to wake up one day and be like, you know what? I'm tired of being a fucking worker bee.
That's what we mean.
I'm about to go train to be a warrior bee.
Right.
And then eventually over time, makes its way from being a worker bee and gets inducted into the warrior bee class.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So there's only they don't change caste. We can.
Right.
Why, and is it consciousness that makes us do that? Or we were just.
But maybe it's the caste itself, right? Like the fact that there's caste systems inherent in every species in itself is the question that we should be asking: is why are these caste systems across species? Why do they manifest in every species? You have hierarchies in every species.
Yeah, is it consciousness that does that?
Is it consciousness?
We were related to, like,
you would assume that would be because perpetuation of the species. There has to be some way for a species to perpetuate itself, so a hierarchy just naturally forms to get the stronger ones ahead so they can breed, so they can make more of this species.
But the modern dictum now is there's no differences, between males and females, and so all of these things that they're trying to eliminate caste systems, and I get it, equality of opportunity, right? But not equality of outcome.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't.
And that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to drive the outcome to be the same for everybody. And there's going to be these strata of differences.
Of course.
And that's what drives us forward as a species. And every species, really. It's those changes that occur within each species that drives a certain subset of their population forward. And over time, evolution makes those species stronger, or they become extinct.
Yes. Well, we just went in a totally different direction, and kind of that. I see what you're saying. I'm not a totally different direction. I'm still confused as to whether or not, like, is it just a numbers game with consciousness? Is it just the bee only has a few thousand neurons, or maybe a million neurons, but we have billions? So at some point, there's enough neurons to process so much thought that it almost seems to come from nowhere. Is it really just crunching data, and then all of a sudden it's like, man, our brain's working so fucking fast, it just is creating everything?
I'm gonna tend to think some people would suggest, and I don't mean to go down this rabbit hole, but that's where the whole religion thing comes into play. It makes sense. The insects, they can have just as many neurons, but because that spark of life, that touch, isn't there, then I think we could go down that path. But I'd rather not right now, just because I was trying to figure out. Man, I had a thought on this the other day, and I should have wrote it down. I just can't remember where we were going. I wanted to ask it to you in a certain way, and I just can't remember it.
We did get to a point where we said something, and I'm trying to think of it. And
I know there's a key word that's just going to make it.
And you said, see, and that's why we need Phillip. And I remember you saying that to me. I don't know if that's the thought
I
you were talking about.
I was standing by the back of the van with the freaking doors open, and I remember saying
you were talking
too.
about morphological resonance earlier, and I think that plays a huge part in the
Explain this to me
memory.
Again. Interspecies memory or passing memory through.
Well, it's more about like an inherent memory that's impressed and encoded within I guess existence itself. If that makes any sense. So, for instance, there's a memory that exists for all species, all matter, all things, inanimate or animate. The sun expresses morphological resonance. It's an idea that Rupert Sheldrake came up with. I think he's the guy that came up with it. And I would not be doing it justice. I haven't read a lot on it lately, so I'm really probably not the person to explain it. But you were explaining it earlier. That's why I wanted to bring it up and see if we can associate that to what you guys are talking about with these caste systems and these learned, patterns of behavior.
I'll liken it to collective consciousness. So on some level, let's say there's 1 through 10, and you can have some people on 1, some people on 2, some people on 3, but if we can all get on 7, then we're on a collective consciousness. That means we can share information a certain way, or at least we can all dip into the pool and get that information. We all have access to the same information. And that's a very, very simplistic way to look at morphological resonance, because it's sort of just in the ether, and we have access to whether it's theories or feelings or knowledge. So we could teach Barrett something, and then
you can't.
Later, well, maybe.
No,
but the idea would be that maybe because we taught him something, or let's use an idea. He has an idea that maybe doesn't exist anywhere, or he has this idea, and now all of a sudden that idea is available in the ether to anyone else who's on 7. So they could not that they can tap into it directly, but it may flow into them. They might be able to tap into it, but it's available now to flow into their thought process. Maybe they can think, oh, I never even thought about this, that out of nowhere, and now Barrett and this person having the same thoughts at the same time, or just the same. It doesn't have to be the same time, but it's a shared memory, a shared thought process.
It's like a competitive advantage almost in some species too when you're looking at it experimentally.
Yeah.
If you have a certain
A little closer, man. Make
sure, sure. A certain subset of species that are developing, let's say, like a certain behavioral characteristic that gives it a competitive advantage against all the other species, automatically overnight, all those other species now have access, like you said, to that behavior that gives them the competitive advantage. And it happens like instantaneously. It's
what mechanism? I mean, what is
it's like this.
I call it the ether.
I was literally thinking it would have to be an ether.
There's like some kind of wavelength that just exists. They say when you do psychedelics, you experience reality outside of the normal wavelengths that you experience.
I wonder what that's like.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm not experimental, so I would never do that. But according to these sources, the science.
The sciences, yo.
The sciences. Apparently, according to these accounts, let's say, you actually are on another wavelength. You're experiencing reality almost outside of the normal reality that you experience, like obtusely experiencing reality, where certain stimuli might, in a sober effect, make you just kind of not really stimulate you too much. You might not even notice it. But then if you're on a psychedelic, then all of a sudden you see that, if from a completely different vantage point.
Yeah.
And it affects you differently. You process it differently. And so you're experiencing reality, and reality hasn't changed, right? Or has it?
I don't know if I agree with that. Yeah, I don't know if I agree with it.
Is it your perception that's changed? Is it your ability to see it outside?
If your perception changes, then I think reality changes.
So is
it's your reality anyway?
Is the chemical effect on your mind and your body, is that having an effect to change reality, or is reality always the same? You're just able now to experience it differently.
Well, that's one theory, that reality is always the same and people just experience it differently because of their perception, which I don't disagree with that. You know, I can't really argue that. But I guess that is correct, because if we get enough people to view something a certain way, that's why I like the idea of prayer and stuff like that, and just focus positive energy. Because I tell you, if you don't believe in God, that's cool. It doesn't matter to me. But if one focuses the energy, enough people are praying, they're focusing this energy, they actually make these things happen.
Isn't it amazing?
Yeah.
It's amazing.
And it can happen the other way too. Hate can do the same thing.
Absolutely.
Enough negativity. And so all they're doing is molding their reality.
Are they tapping into an undefined energy?
Yes, I think so. They're tapping into number 7 there. They're all on 7 wavelength, and they're morphing their reality. Now, can they change enough to where the people not on 7 can see it? Sometimes that's what quote unquote a miracle would be, right? If people believe or pray enough and then something happens, blah, blah, blah. If it actually happened, let's just say it did. People prayed for this person not to stand up from being struck by lightning, and they were actually dead, but they came back to life. Because enough people had focused and prayed on it and focused positive energy, they changed reality. They were able to tap into some other level, some other wavelength enough to change reality for everyone viewing it that wasn't on that wavelength.
But how many is this? Is this still data? Is this still undata? Is this still just a numbers game? You have to believe it, because lots of people pray for lots of things that don't happen.
And don't get it.
You know, world hunger to go away.
Well, yeah,
war.
the prayer is just an example.
Yeah, but if you don't believe it,
that's what I mean. So
then the energy that you're actually exuding or putting forth into it, it's not pure in its essence. So it's probably not tapping at that wavelength. It's not tapping in that pathway. You know, you have to believe in something. You know, like when you go to a tournament, if you go to a tournament and you're like, I'm not gonna, I'm gonna get hurt. Guess what, dude? You're gonna fucking get hurt. That's what's gonna happen to you. You're gonna get hurt.
Yeah, but there's also the people that are like, I'm gonna go there and fuck everybody up, and then they get their knee destroyed.
That's true too.
They're like, I'm gonna kill everybody.
But they still believed in it.
Right.
They still believed in it. There was some
Your camera just died.
Oh.
Shit.
It's a hell of a battery.
Shit.
Oh, like 20
It's
minutes.
like
See, this
it's
is. Remember when we used to record them and it was like, fuck, and then I'd go and like sometimes even get 2 and I try to put them together. That don't work.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna see what that does.
Yeah, we'll just kind of see.
I didn't need the whole podcast for Instagram. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, we do have a Instagram page. It's Purple Shed Podcast on Instagram.
Podcast.
So check us out. Give us a like.
Give us a like.
Give us a follow.
Come see what we're doing.
That's a good one.
Okay. I don't know. What were we talking about? I don't even fucking remember. Believing. You have to believe. Believe. I believe. I need to trim my beard, man. It's starting to piss me off.
But then here we go going right back to hierarchies, because somebody else came in there believing more than you could believing at a stronger and you're believing at 4, he's believing at 7.
Yeah.
You know,
is it
I see what you're getting at. I'm sort of.
Is it?
I'm torn with that.
I'm agreeing with you. Sort of. That the numbers
I mean, because this
game.
is very, like.
Because if you had to put it because even if it's just 1 to 1, if this person believes more, that's still a number. More it's a quantitative value. That we can put on it somehow. More is more.
But wouldn't you say that at the highest levels of competition, the two sides believe or envision themselves winning. Like,
I think everyone's different on every day.
Okay,
I
here's
don't
the
give a
difference.
shit if it's Jacare and Andre Galvao going at it. They both believe, but maybe this guy had a little worse day. Maybe something changed this morning. Maybe he stubbed his toe. Maybe whatever happened, and his wavelengths are just a little lower than this guy's that day. Not that doesn't mean he's going to lose, but his self-belief may not be where he thinks it is. We may be, like we were talking about the neural links, we may be lying to ourselves enough, trying to believe, and that's not a bad thing. That's how we get places sometimes.
Yeah.
You're gonna.
Well, I was wondering if believing in something can change anything more than just you. You know what I mean? Can it really change anything else other than you? Because if two fighters believe they're going to win, one of them isn't.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just that's the way it works.
And maybe this is
the one that loses could be the one that believed more he was going to win.
But you know what? Maybe this is a poor analogy, because two fighters are actually in competition with each other. So even though they have the same desires, their beliefs are different. Because a fighter says, I believe A fighter will win, and B fighter says, I believe B fighter will win, and you're putting up two opposing forces against each other. Whereas if let's say I'm a manager, okay, or I'm a commanding officer, and I'm trying to relay information to people in my unit or people in my organization, and I'm trying to get them to follow some way of thinking. So I explain to them, what our goals are, and then I also tell them the path that we can carve to get there, and also why it's important for us to get there. And once I'm able to explain that to them, maybe they didn't see before. Like, man, I don't understand. He's asking me, I'm at A, he's asking me to get to B, and I just don't understand how we're going to do that as an organization. But as a leader, you create or carve out a way for that pathway to exist, explain it to the people that are going to help you make that happen, and now all of a sudden everyone believes in it, and they come together into a common effort, and then you go from A to B just like you carved out. But no one believed in that except for you.
Yeah, but
initially, and if you've got people that don't believe in it when you're trying to execute, you're not going to be able to get to B.
But I would but if you made that speech to all those people and they all were like, yes, we are going to kick ass because we all believe. And then they all just sat in a room and did nothing but believed.
Which is probably what would happen.
Nothing would fucking happen. So the belief in my mind in little ways is I believe. I'm with all these other people that believe. I can't make them do anything, only make myself do something, and I believe that I need to do something.
Yeah, well, I guess you have to have people that are going to be motivated towards the goal as well.
Well, but yeah, that's what I mean. So is it the belief? I mean, if they all just sat on the ground and believed,
no, for sure,
they'd just starve to death.
But
I mean,
we're going in a different route on this conversation, but yeah, that comes down to a hard, people willing to work, people willing to take action,
right.
And I think belief can get you out of bed in the morning.
For sure, I'm not discounting belief. I'm really trying to figure out the word. What does it mean? And really, what does it really mean? I guess in a way is kind of what I'm looking for. Does that make sense? Because you need all kinds of things to make a successful company or a successful life or be a good dad or do jiu-jitsu or whatever.
Not just
hard work,
belief.
practice, talent, ability, IQ, all your fucking digits or whatever. That's not true either, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whatever. Physically able, I don't know. So I'm just trying to figure out what is the difference between belief and believing. And then if 10,000 people believe, can they do anything just by believing?
Well, I think that's important. That's why religion is important, because you have all these people concentrating their beliefs into one belief, one unified belief, and that's what makes it so powerful.
So is it an energy?
It's unifying.
But is it an energy? Is believing something an energy?
I think one could say that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I don't know. I really don't know. That way,
and it's we can label it that. We can label that energy belief so that everyone can get on that same wavelength. And then we can start working towards common goals. Does that make sense? And I know that might...
say it again. Yeah, I mean, okay.
We're going to label this energy. We don't know what it is. We don't know how to explain it other than this word that we call belief. We call it faith, whatever we want to call it. Let's call it belief.
Okay.
But this energy we know if we can get everybody on this energy, we can feel it. If I can get everybody on this energy, we can move forward in this project, our society, socially, our species, as long as we can get everybody on this energy. But we're going to call it belief so that we can all talk about it instead of just saying you got to get on the right energy level.
Are we starting a cult?
Kind of feels like we might be.
We were talking about morphological resonance earlier, and now we're talking about...
Kind of feels like we might
now
be.
We're talking about like getting all these people to believe in one thing.
We're like working out how to get people to believe. If we could get 5,000 people to believe...
See, I'm thinking
let's
5.
start with 5 worker bees,
really
and
true.
we'll work our way
5
up.
worker bees.
And I have no doubt, man, that one person who believes he can accomplish something or do some good in the world is worth more than 1 million people that are like, fuck you. I mean, I mean, not worth more, but he can accomplish something at whatever task he believes in. It may be, I want to read all of an author's books. I believe I can do it. I want to become, I want to own a big company. I believe I can do it. Whereas, 1 million people who have no conviction aren't going to accomplish anything that they want, but it also takes the work and the effort and the,
But if
luck.
1 million people put in the work and the effort, will they be exceptional like that one person? Or is that one person just inherently exceptional because of who they are?
And do you, I don't know.
Are they an anomaly? Are they the 1 in 1 million person?
And do you even have to believe in something to do good or bad, for that matter?
Because you have exceptional people out there that they're on another level. They're at another level that we'll never be at. And they have so many different talents and skills and desire and hard work and ethic that's way beyond anything that I could possibly comprehend. And I just think is that something that's inherent? Did they just manifest that because of their genetics, their environment, who they are in society, their hierarchical status? I mean, opportunities.
I have a question I want to ask, but I didn't know if Ben was thinking of something, so I didn't want.
I'm thinking a lot of shit. I'm trying to figure out how to say it. So go ahead.
Well, I just don't want to derail it. It just made me think.
I'm ready to derail.
Okay,
guys, my thoughts are going to derail it. No, unfortunately.
It made me think of a conversation for whatever reason that I had with my niece a while back. Grace, you know Grace, or well, I know you don't, but she knows. Yeah, they know you. We have your cousin or whatever. Anyway, I had a conversation with her I love talking to her, and she was talking about how she gets in arguments with her mom. Her mom's a teacher, about how grammar doesn't actually exist. And it's basically just a social construct because we all just agree that this comma is going to go there and we're going to capitalize these letters and we're going to spell things like this, but it doesn't really fucking matter. It's just like we agreed on it. And it only exists because we agreed on it. So ultimately, because she was like, I can get all kinds of points across using horrible grammar, spelling things wrong. I mean, and you still know exactly what I'm talking about. And she was like, nothing exists. I mean, the grammar doesn't exist. Ultimately, we both agreed that everything's just vibrating energy, so nothing really exists. It's kind of where we got. But it made me think: does belief have a meaning just because we give it a meaning?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So, so my question was going to be: does any word really mean anything on its own?
That's what we were talking about.
Is that what it was?
We were talking about. Fuck, keep going.
Well, does anything mean anything on its own? We have to agree on it. Words are social. We these words. We have to. Hear people talk about it all the time. Like Joe Rogan always says, the sounds that are coming out of my mouth. That's what we agree on. But it got me thinking. Just like,
but we got there. Somewhere.
We gave this thing a word. We gave it a word. Did it come from nothing? Are we just? I don't know, but what were you saying? Go ahead.
Well, I mean, your niece, and I mean that's a cute way of thinking about things, but there is such thing as grammar. Okay, if you're listening, because in order to communicate effectively, and especially when you're writing,
but she would disagree with you totally. She
would, and you know what? The only reason why I can understand her poor grammar is because I have good grammar, and if you have poor grammar. A person with good grammar can understand you, but if someone else has poor grammar, unless you're both speaking the same dialect.
But you can't be saying
you
that.
may not be able to understand.
But you can't be saying that ideas existed after grammar. There's always been vocal ideas. I mean, cave drawings. There's no grammar. Grunts and moots and points and.
But isn't the
there's no grammar.
drawing itself some type of form of language?
Well, that was her. That was her point. Well, I don't want to talk for her. She'd be an interesting podcast guest, but
I mean, are we just gonna like communicate to each other with emojis and then that's it?
No. Well, she totally agreed that we need it. By the way, and we both did too. It's an orderly thing, but ultimately, does it really exist? Is kind of where we were going with it. Of course, of course, it's a nice thing to have.
And it's a good thought experiment, I think. But
we kind of ran in circles with it.
In the end, you have to have good grammar. I think that's part of what's wrong today is that you can skip out on those things that seem irrelevant or insignificant, like grammar. It is important. It's still important.
Yeah, that's
The only the only reason I think that, based on our conversation right now, the only reason I think
what was that?
the only reason I think we need good grammar is because we haven't figured out a more efficient way to communicate, so that makes the communication more efficient.
Okay, well, don't worry because Neuralink is coming. And
that's what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
That's where I was going to derail us to
no
earlier.
grammar necessary.
Yeah, you were talking
Let's get
about...
back to belief in Neuralink here in a minute.
Okay.
But yeah, that's the only reason I think grammar is so important is because maybe it's the most efficient or a very efficient way to communicate. And until we can figure out a more efficient way, it's going to be very important. Right? And it is still just a construct. When we construct, we figure out, be able to tap into something more useful, more functional for communication, grammar may become, and yes, it's just made up. I understand that, and I agree.
But grammar is the framework for communication.
Yeah, functionality.
So
that's why it's
one
there.
type of communication.
Yes,
it is.
I mean, I can tell Ben something just by looking at it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
What the fuck has grammar got to do with that? You know what I mean? Nothing. So it was just like, okay, it's this layer of communication that we've all agreed on. We've kind of boxed in a layer of communication, which is very important, by the way. And of course, and she and I and both of you, I'm assuming, are plenty intelligent enough to understand how to do it. And we know that it's efficient and effective for certain things. But the rules are so crazy. You know what I mean? That's kind of where she was like, we just make these fucking rules up. And and her mom was like, "It exists, Grace." She's like, "No, it doesn't."
Okay, but you're saying there, and there. 3 different ways to say
stuff like that, but
and
that's
spell there.
Yeah.
But if you communicate that and you say it, you might understand what I'm saying in context. But if you write it and you write it the wrong way, in a true grammatical sense, it doesn't make sense.
Yes, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. So in order to have an advanced way of communicating with each other, we have to have a standardized... If we didn't have a standardized formation of communication between each other, especially like with writing, then we wouldn't be able to create technical papers where we're talking about things. And we couldn't just be like, you don't see the light and like, you.
Oh, sure.
And then, DONT.
And I think that's a big problem
C,
probably
the letter
with...
C, It's
the same thing.
THA.
It's the same thing with, you're talking about technical papers. Yeah, because we could make the same argument for math.
Sure.
I mean, it's this incredibly useful thing that we've developed, obviously, because it's important and it's a good thing to know, and engineers and blah, blah, blah. None of this stuff would exist without it.
Yeah.
But it's all vibrating energy in the end. You know what I mean? It was kind of the same circle of thought we were going through.
But what if somebody wanted to write 1 + 1 = 2, but they were like, I'm just going to leave like the plus sign out, and I'm just going to put 1 comma 1, and I'm not going to leave the it changes
turns into a list versus an equation.
Yeah, it changes it.
So what happens to grammar? I'm just going to use that as an example because that's what we're talking about. Whenever the Neuralink comes into play, you know what I'm saying?
And we could just
we're going to change the way we communicate with each other. Eventually, we won't have to communicate because it'll be this thing I don't really think we can fathom. It's just going to be thought reading, basically, at some point because we're all linked into the same thing, or maybe we can just plug into each other, or maybe it's the Wi-Fi. We communicate through the Wi-Fi. So is grammar going to be that important? Because if we keep the same construct of how we communicate, yes, it will be. But my question is it going to change so much the way we communicate? Because we were talking about earlier. We were talking about earlier about how we're gonna have to lie to each other first because I don't want him to know I was thinking about this thing, or and then we're gonna get comfortable with lies, and then we're gonna. This becomes my reality because I said it so much, and I don't want him to ever know I thought about that. So now I don't think about it. So now my lie became my truth, and so that's just one example of how we're going to change how we communicate so much. Is what we understand to be grammar right now even going to be relevant then? Because maybe writing won't be relevant then, and if writing isn't relevant, that's what we were alluding to earlier. That's why grammar is so important. Is writing one of the main reasons? And if writing's not relevant, then grammar becomes less relevant. Not saying it's not, but.
Yeah, but right now we have sovereignty over our own thoughts.
Yes.
So I don't have to censor my thoughts. I don't have to feel like I have to lie to you about what my thoughts are, but I can play the non-disclosure game.
Yes, you just don't tell him
I'm just not going to tell you that crazy shit I was just thinking because I don't want you to know that I'm thinking about this crazy shit. And I guarantee you got some crazy shit going on with you too.
Sketch. If you ever see me over here,
I know.
I just sort of
shake your head.
Yeah,
we've seen you do it. We've talked about it.
We've talked about this before.
Yeah, so that's what I do with my shitty thoughts.
I think that Neuralink stuff, if it gets to the point where I think you think it might be going, where we're all instantly connected. We kind of talked about this today. I think at Open Mat, or maybe it was me and you, or all of us. I don't remember who was saying what, but so now we have these systems in place, morals, where we kind of. Like, we're all thinking, we all have crazy thoughts all the time. We can't help it. Sometimes it's almost like, and we've had this conversation too, am I even really thinking these things? Or is it like my antenna is just picking shit up out in the ether? We've had that conversation, but let's just say I'm thinking it. So we come up with this moral blockade where we don't let certain people know certain thoughts. We all agree that if you think about that, that's fucking weird. We don't really want to know. You know what I mean? So, but it's okay if you want to tell me the recipe for your tacos that you're going to do tonight, or that's fine, but I don't want to know other shit.
I don't want to know you think bestiality thoughts.
Whatever. Yeah. What the fuck ever they are. But if we can all communicate instantly with some Neuralink, is it going to go where it's just chaos, or is it going to go Borg? Where I don't want to know what you're thinking, you don't want to know what I'm thinking, but we all know what we're thinking, so we're just going to be the same fucking thing, and I'll think the same thing.
Or, is it going to actually get rid of negative thoughts?
Or we just going to all accept them.
That's what they're trying to do right now.
That's what I'm saying. It either gets rid of or accepts or go Borg. I haven't thought about that one. So.
We can all just accept it.
That's what they're trying to do right now with social media, though. They're trying to cleanse out the.
Oh yeah.
Like they're like, oh well, we want to trend these thoughts out because we want to make this a quote unquote better place.
They don't do that. They don't do that. They don't. They told Congress they don't do that, Phillip.
They don't do it.
I'm sorry, my bad.
You're mistaken.
I was just going by like the 6 Google execs that have come out in the last 3 weeks.
If you're listening to this podcast at this point, there's going to be an ad for a Tundra that's going to come up because I'm talking about Tundras.
No, you were just thinking about Tundras.
That's going to be fucked up.
Okay, let me be a real asshole and hey Siri.
Siri, play James Brown Sex Machine. Ow. We got to remember that for the tags when we do the video.
Sex Machine. No.
Hey Siri.
Hey Siri. Where are we going with this?
Neuralinks. I was thinking earlier is we talked about this last time about the Neuralinks being able to tap into information. Like the black belt that wouldn't.
Yes.
The guy who wouldn't want this black belt.
Yeah.
What about just one technique, though? You know what I'm saying? With this dude, he sees it. He's tried to nail it. He's a solid purple belt, maybe even a brown belt. And he's just, man, I just cannot nail that lapel guard, whatever it is that Keenan Cornelius just made up. Blah, blah. Would they download just that one? Would it be as cheating in their mind, right?
Keenan Cornelius has an app where you just go, I want that one, and it's $1 or something. It's $5
buy
or
the
whatever.
Download. Wouldn't that be fucking crazy?
Oh, cool! Now I can do that.
And it'd be. I think that'd be I don't know how slippery a slope would be, but it'd be definitely a slope.
It's a slope for sure.
One would go down because it's just one.
Slope.
I think so too with some people, because some people, especially lower level people, would just be like, I'm just gonna get the arm bar from guard and
it's like
probably from mount because it's the same one. It's the same one. It's just from mount, so it's the same one.
Do you think there'll be like traditional gyms in the future where they're like, okay, you can't have the Neuralink upload?
Yeah, we talked about that earlier. Yeah, the other day too. Yeah,
So it's like
look,
it's almost discrimination, right?
Right.
Like, we don't
Yeah.
want you because you have downloads. You can't come in. We have to work hard here. We don't want a white belt coming in with all these downloads and hurting people.
But then they'll form their own school and they'll just destroy everybody in the
Murder, yeah.
tournaments.
Yeah. And
Well,
that's what
yeah, it'd be
Ryan
like
does.
the.
Right.
That's what John Danaher did.
Yeah.
What did
He's
he
like,
do?
hold up. You like leg locks? Watch this.
Yeah.
All right, fuck.
It's like that movie Surrogate. Have you ever seen Surrogate with
Bruce Willis.
Bruce Willis? Yeah, where there's a group. They're all laying
Yeah.
basically in these pods, but they have like android robots that kind of experience reality for them.
Yeah, they
and
sort of play
everybody's
them out.
beautiful and thin, and they all that shit. But they're really just laying in some pod somewhere in a house, like hooked up to this thing, and they never really go anywhere or anything. But there's people who don't do that. So there's real humans that live in like a ghetto area of town, and they're kind of looked down upon. Although at the end of the movie, spoiler alert,
No, that movie's only been out like 12 years.
12 years. That's why I don't give a fuck. So all the little things, all the surrogates, the robots walking around like the avatars basically are experiencing the world for the people, all get shut down. So people have to come out, and they're all like, 100 pounds overweight, and they're just disgusting because they've been laying in their house hooked to this pod for years and just basically shitting and eating, and that's it. And their thing does all their work,
they address the
relationships and everything.
Did they address the bathroom issue on there? I can't
Not
remember
really,
the movie really because
no.
I remember thinking that when I watched the movie. Is
So
they have a hose shoved up their ass because they sit in this thing for a while.
Yeah.
Like they put IV in, it feeds them, and they just it's like playing a video game. Like Ready Player One is a better new version
I
of
haven't
it.
seen that one yet.
It's pretty
wait,
good.
how old is Surrogate?
Man.
Surrogates. Hold on.
Siri.
So top 3 Bruce Willis movies.
I looked
I'm gonna
this guy
say
up
Die
here.
Hard.
Die Hard's pretty fun. Die Hard with a Vengeance was really good. I liked all three of them
I
actually.
like the first Die Hard. The first Die Hard
Yeah,
was
first
great.
Die Hard
You know
too.
what? Was
It
Die
was
Hard with
the-
a Vengeance the one with in the airport?
No, I'm thinking the one with Samuel L. Jackson. I can't remember which one that was
That was
called.
pretty good too. I like the first one.
I just like Samuel
And
L.
then I
Jackson.
think the second Bruce Willis movie I would have to put in there is Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. That's excellent. I want to. What's that new
Does
movie?
he have a
that
third good one?
Quentin Tarantino- A
Is
third?
that it?
2000.
Obviously,
Are we
Surrogates,
done?
right? Yes. Wasn't he in The Sixth Sense? Was,
Oh,
yeah.
shit.
Fishing, baby.
I gotta reel that one back in.
Yeah. That. I mean, I'm
2009. I thought it was a little older than that, but I
10
mean,
well, I was
still,
close to
10
12 years.
Yeah, 10 years.
Sixth
Yeah, I
Sense
remember-
might have just jumped to the top of the list actually.
What's
over
that?
Die Hard, one of the best Christmas movies ever.
Yeah, I think so.
What's top of the list?
Sixth Sense.
Oh,
Bruce
Sixth
Willis
Sense.
movies.
Oh, yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know. Pulp Fiction is still better than Sixth Sense to me.
I've never seen Pulp Fiction from beginning to end.
I don't know if anyone has.
M. Night,
Never seen it from beginning
M.
to
Night
end.
Shyamalan.
Shamalama.
Shyamalan.
Shamalala.
You know what? The other movie I liked that he did was Signs.
I was literally thinking
Yeah,
of
that was
Signs
pretty
when you
good.
said it.
I
Like
enjoyed
Shyamalan.
that as well.
That was one of the first ones I kind of liked.
You know what?
what I mean?
You know which one I didn't like that he did was the Lady in the Water. Big
Oh my
piece of shit.
god,
Big
that
piece
was
of
How
shit.
about all the other
horrible.
ones?
Well, there were more because I wasn't happy with the third one of the Unbreakable series either. That came out
Yeah.
here recently.
I mean, that's not. For some reason, I didn't really like that series at all, like much at all.
For some reason, I was pumped for that third one,
Really?
and I watched, and I
Yeah.
Womp
It was
womp.
all right.
yeah,
but
all right,
it's
yeah,
not
exactly.
much. I just didn't care for the whole thing. The whole.
I don't know.
series
It's
of
one
it.
of those movies. I don't know why I liked it. What resonated with me about it, like Waterworld with Kevin Costner.
I like
every time
Waterworld.
every time that motherfucker comes on, when I'm around it, I'm glued to the TV
Waterworld-
watching. I
everybody
don't
said,
know
yeah,
why.
That's like a running joke. Waterworld's horrible. I was
No,
like,
I like it.
That was kind of cool.
I don't know. I couldn't tell you exactly why, but something about it, I just love
Me
it.
too. I'm the same
Fucking
way.
love it.
It's kind of like a lot of people are like they hate it, they love it or hate it kind of thing. A lot of people are like that about that movie.
So I'm a dumbass
Yes.
because I had watched The Boys. And I thought, man, this is great.
I
This is like the
I loved it.
This is like the anti-superhero, movie.
Oh, I didn't watch any of that yet.
And then I figured out after I watched the
It's a comic.
series that it's actually a comic.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
like,
a
God
comic.
damn it, it's a comic. I thought it was like the antithetical,
Well, it's still that. It's just
It's-
we just didn't know it was a
but it's
comic.
a comic.
Yeah.
It's a damn comic.
What's
I fell for it. You got me.
what's the hold on?
But
What's
man,
the
a lot
problem
of
with that? I'm missing something.
I mean, so
because-
it's like,
why-
say,
why do
have
you
you ever
feel
watched
tricked?
Preacher?
I do, man, because I didn't think
Have
it
you ever
was.
watched Preacher?
No.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I
Preacher's
watched
a
the
comic.
first season.
Preacher's
Yeah,
a
that was a
comic.
comic as well. Yeah.
I mean, I only know that because I had a friend that was super big into him, but it's one of those ones where you may not know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't watch a whole lot of Netflix stuff though, man. I just don't. I'm just YouTubing it.
You ever watch Hell on Wheels?
That's the train.
Yeah.
The series,
the
no, I
old
didn't
West
watch any
one.
of it. I heard it was good.
That was good, man.
I heard it was good. I didn't watch it though. It came on after Walking Dead. Remember Walking Dead first
Yeah.
came out years ago? It was
Yeah.
right after Walking Dead. I never really watched it.
And the first few seasons of Walking Dead was good.
Yeah.
And until I figured out they had a comic with that too. And
I
I was like,
hate
oh,
comics.
I can just read to the end of this. Like,
Well, they're a little different. I mean, they change it up some. You know what I mean?
little
Like some
bit.
of the characters are different. Some certain people die at different times and
True.
shit. You know.
true.
Yeah. Where's my fucking water?
Like Game of Thrones. Did you watch Game of Thrones? You know that's a
I
book,
didn't.
right?
Yeah.
I
It's a
watched
series.
it.
I
a
liked
book.
it.
You know that, right?
I thought it was
It's a
cool as
comic.
shit.
You know, it's a
I've-
comic.
I've
You know
felt-
that,
I
right?
It's a
fell for
comic
that one,
without
too.
pictures. What's that?
I told you I'm a dumbass.
I don't understand.
So what were we talking about a few minutes ago? Did we work it out? What was it?
No, we never work anything
Dude,
out.
do we ever work anything
True.
out that we talk about on this
I don't know.
podcast?
Me
That
and
was-
Barrett figured
that was-
some shit out on one podcast, 2 podcasts ago. We were just figuring shit out.
Yeah.
And the beginning of the next podcast, all 3 of us, we were just like, no, we didn't figure
We
shit
didn't
out.
figure
We're
shit
a
out.
couple
We
fucking
literally at one
idiots.
point we were like, "Damn, we're figuring all kinds of shit out
Yeah.
today." I don't remember what we said. I didn't post that one.
Yeah, you didn't even release it.
I know, we were probably not going to. For a while.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know.
What were we talking about? Neuralinks. We're talking about surrogates. We're talking about how
Neuralinks,
Good.
good, bad. Neuralinks, good or bad?
we're talking about downloading. What good? How are they going to sell it at first? You know what I'm saying, to the public? Besides
Right.
just.
Have you ever wanted to know what your spouse was
Facebook,
thinking?
yeah.
I don't know, something like that.
Well, no, I think it's going to be simpler than
No,
that. Like you
it-
can
by
just
the way-
you can just download recipes.
I'd rather
or
not
you
know.
Can just,
I don't really want to know.
you can download the concerts that are coming up this week. You know what I'm saying? I think it's going to be something simple like that.
Right,
You can download
yeah.
all the coupons coming up at Kroger's, and people are like, "Oh yeah, let's download that," and they're going to work their way in with some Weasley stupid shit.
Have you
And
watched
then
Have you watched the 20-minute presentation Elon Musk gave though on the
on Neuralinks? I have not. What did he say?
You should watch that. You should check it out.
should put it on.
He's got an official
Should commentate
20-minute
to it.
presentation where he goes through like what his vision for it is, and then he has like 2 or 3 other people on there that are engineers,
So
physicians.
is it a wearable thing, implantable? What is it?
It's gonna be implantable. It's gonna actually go into the back of your ear and into your brain,
Yes.
and it's gonna connect like into all of these different subsections of the brain.
This is like the Matrix
And it
shit.
looks like a hearing aid basically on the back of your ear right here. It looks pretty fucking clunky, but the initial insertion like into the back of the ear is very very thin looking needle wire looking thing, and it's just gonna go blip right into your fucking brain, and you're gonna plug that thing in, and then you're gonna take it off, and you're gonna have to probably recharge it, I'm sure.
Clean the hole.
So by
Yeah.
clunky, it's like a big thing that you're gonna have to wear on the side of your head.
Well,
Is
it's
that
not
the
that
idea?
it's not
Well,
quite
no, I
that
mean,
big, but it's like right.
It's like a big
right
hearing aid,
behind
like the old school
it
hearing
looks like an
aids.
old school hearing aid.
Huh. So if a kid has a hearing aid and you fuck with him and he doesn't like give you sign language, then he's got a Neuralink.
If you fuck with a kid that looks like he's got a hearing aid,
You're a
You're an
piece of
asshole.
shit.
well,
I agree.
Well, no.
You're funny, but you're an
and
asshole.
He's downloaded every single
I mean,
John Donaher move
Thanks for
on the
punching.
app.
Thanks for
You're
punching
in
down on me.
You're shit out
Thanks
of
for
luck.
punching down. Comedy. Yeah, but
And by fuck with, I didn't mean push down.
Yeah.
I just meant dealing with
move
it.
your
in a
mouth
way.
and shit.
Like, hey kid, you got a hearing aid?
That's why
fuck's
would I
wrong
go?
with you?
Why else would I go to Walmart, right?
Can you hear
But
the
so-
words that are coming out of my mouth?
So what does he say the capability will be of it at some point?
Yeah.
What's the capability expectation that he has? Like, what does he think it's going to do? What?
To download his firmware into your mind.
Right. Yeah. So, but I mean, is it going to be? Are you going?
Or upload, I'm sorry.
Is it going to be? I'm sure this is a dumb question because I'm sure it will some way, but work with other things like glasses and your Neuralink, and you have a computer. You can just think, what sushi places are open tonight? It'll just give you a list of sushi places like right in your glasses or something. I mean, or is it?
I think
probably-
the idea
you're
is it's going to be in your own eyes.
Yeah. It's going to
be
be
in your
You'll
own
project-
eyes.
Yeah, you'll be able to project.
Yeah.
vision
What do they call that? It's not virtual reality. It's augmented
reality, but in your eyeball.
But in your eyeball. But actually, in your consciousness will be
yes,
producing
that's what I'm
the
curious.
actual.
See, so we don't even understand consciousness.
But we're gonna put this
we're gonna
rod
put something
in our brain.
in our consciousness. I don't understand.
No, thank you.
They're going to interpret our consciousness by just. Are we going to get to the point where we can just think? I want sushi tonight, and it'll give me a list of sushi places. Because how the fuck? I mean, that's consciousness. And if we don't even understand consciousness, how does it? How is? I just have. I don't want a Neuralink. By the way, I don't want one.
Well, what's sad though is if you don't get the Neuralink, you're gonna get left behind like Kirk Cameron, bro.
You think so, man? I mean,
Good
okay.
reference.
All right. Well, you talked me into it. I want one. No, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't want to be anything like Kirk Cameron.
Kirk Cameron.
If he has an earpiece, I'm fucking with him. Just because I'm an ass. What are they going to have different firmware, as you put earlier? Like Microsoft's going to have theirs, and then Android's going to have theirs, and Elon's going to have his. And so are they going to be compatible in some way, or is it going to be only one size fits all? Everything's going to be the same, and there's going to be different.
I think it'll be like cell phones. I mean, Apples can call Androids and text Androids and shit, but you know how? But sometimes it's weird.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the
So there's gonna be
emojis. You'll
different
send me a
interfaces, I
ghost,
guess,
and I'll
is the
get a
best
Nazi,
question.
and I'm like, what is this? I don't understand what this
You
is.
look up Nazi ghosts?
Yeah,
Is that
yeah.
what you said? What the fuck?
If somebody tries to penetrate your firewall though, and all of a sudden like Norton antivirus like just zooms out into your vision over a side, and you know somebody's in the vicinity trying to get into your.
Yeah, they're hacking. You're getting hacked.
You're getting hacked. You're getting hacked.
But I mean,
so
most-
you're gonna depend upon Norton antivirus to ensure that you don't turn into whatever the fuck they want you to turn into.
Either Norton or that psycho McAfee.
That
Or
guy.
look, too.
That guy.
I mean, how fucking insane would it be, too, also for somebody at, like, Android
He's
or
kind of
Google?
fun though. He's kind of he's lived
McAfee.
Yeah, he's a very
Who is McAfee?
eccentric character.
That security software.
McAfee, the guy. Yeah. Didn't he get, like, arrested, him and his girlfriend, like,
His
with guns
story's
on a
fucking
boat?
crazy.
Like, outside on the coast of, like, Nicaragua or something, and
Dude, they've been after that dude for a long.
They're still
time.
after him?
I don't know.
But what
I mean,
is-
he's
what
been
is-
on Alex Jones a couple times.
Yeah, what are they, who is they, and why are they after him? Like,
I
what,
think it's just for I don't know the original reason, but didn't it turn into he supposedly, quote unquote, had something to do with the killing of his the killing of his neighbor down in Costa Rica or wherever the hell he was.
I don't know.
Or they killed his dog, and then the neighbor showed up dead, or something along those lines.
I don't know, but he barricaded himself into some compound he has in a foreign country, and he stayed there for quite some time and held up.
Supposedly had a
time.
lab where he was making like a bunch of ecstasy or something like that. Now I'm just perpetuating
shit up.
rumors. No,
We
no, I
gotta
mean
remember
there's
this.
something like that. I just can't remember exact
It
details.
is something like that, but you have to kind of read in between the lines and think, is that the narrative that they were pushing that they want you to believe, and that's the reason why they were
that
going
makes him
after
look
him?
more like a shithead.
Right.
And blah blah blah.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, he's making ecstasy?
Yeah.
That sounds like a cool dude.
Yeah, I mean,
Don't go after
but he
him.
did get arrested recently, right? Or something, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
I know he was in the news recently.
Yeah, he was in the news. Like he was on a boat with
But they let it
guns.
pass
and
over
he
real
went in
quick.
some water, some country's water. Passed over there, and they arrested him or something. I don't really know. I skimmed the headlines or something. What were we talking about right before
I
that?
don't know. I was trying to remember.
What were we talking about right before
Was
that?
it Neuralink? Was it
They're
the
coming for everybody?
Norton antivirus? Somebody's trying to hack you.
Oh, that's what I was gonna say. How weird is it for somebody at Tesla could just like click through people and just watch what you're doing? Just click. Oh, there's a bin, and then click. Oh, there's a dude fucking a girl.
So
Just watch it. You know what I
So
mean?
I don't know that they'll probably have to pass legislation, like in this book I was reading. And that doesn't mean they can't.
Ben. Yeah,
Yeah.
that'll keep them from doing anything
You're
nefarious.
going to be able to be inserted into the simulation, and the simulation is going to be based on what everybody's seeing at all times.
That's what I was going to say.
And
Is
it's gonna be a
how's our reality?
Like, it's going to be a composite, like, virtual reality that you can just be inserted in, so you can go spy on whoever you want
That's what I mean.
to.
Like somebody at Tesla or Google or whatever could just flip. I mean, like they can't flip through our phones and listen to it. I mean, no, we don't do that. Yes, you fucking do. Come
Yes.
on. I mean, I would.
Of course.
I mean, but I mean, I don't know. I just be honest about it. Yeah, y'all bought a phone. Saw all these. You remember that 79,000 word agreement you signed? Yeah, that's in there.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, but
But they're not listening to us.
No, they're
dude.
not listening to us.
Why would they listen to us?
it's so stupid.
I'm sure that there's other people out there
Oh,
that
sure.
they can listen to.
Yeah, they're much more important people to listen to or whatever.
Yeah, we're like nobodies.
That's what I mean, but they could just flip through. And so if you
Yeah,
have
that's a
some
good
Neuralink in your head that they can see what you see and think what you think.
I'm more worried about them just taking
of course
over
they
and
will.
hijacking the Neuralink, and then all of a sudden you're not Ben anymore. You're not Barrett anymore. I'm not Phillip anymore. We're whoever they want us to be.
Are they going to be in control so much to where you can't just do this? You know what I'm saying?
I think that they instantaneously
well, it's going to have to be a
hijacking-
surgery or something to put it in your head, right?
Oh yeah. It's a
So
surgery.
you can't just. But could you turn it off? But that's not possible either,
No.
because they can just turn it back
It's
on.
got to be powered somehow.
It's got to be powered by your body.
There's going to be all
Yeah, that's
kinds of
what I'm
back
wondering how
doors
they-
to this thing. Like we don't really know what
But
this
they can make
thing
you
is.
hallucinate or something. I mean, you know how fucking weird would that be? Like they don't really take control of you, but every now and then they just make you think you're on fire.
Or they turn you into a Manchurian Candidate.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You walk into a Walmart and just start shooting people up.
Or floating out in the middle of space. You know, like all of a sudden, just everything disappears, but your own body. You can't see, but
Yeah,
you,
yeah,
you
yeah.
And that's
feel,
what
you still feel everything, but you can't see a thing except your own self, or something. I mean, just something insane, insanity they could do to you. I don't want one. I don't want a Neuralink.
I don't want one either.
Probably wake
man.
up tomorrow with a hearing aid looking thing on the side, and Ben will be there making fun of me. He'll be there calling
fucking
me,
right,
calling me
dude.
dumbass,
Okay.
dumb.
It's going to be
kid.
stapled to your head. There's going to be a note that
Stapled.
says, "I'm sorry, Barrett, but I hate you."
stapled.
Like, what's up, stupid? Can you hear me?
Anyway,
But this is what they're disclosing to us right now, though. So you have to think that the technology that they actually
Yeah, how
have,
far?
it's so far ahead
Well,
of
yeah.
what they're disclosing that this Neuralink is like, them.
I mean, how does Trump feel about Elon Musk?
Honestly, I
Do
don't know.
We don't know.
I don't know, man. I have no idea.
That'd be a good thing to know.
Elon.
Elon. Yeah, I'm on a
tight.
first name basis.
Yeah. Trust me. I know him well.
I don't think
He's a great
anybody
guy.
refers to him as Elon.
Digging tunnels. He's great.
That dude's
great.
great.
He's
He's trying to
America.
Los Angeles into Swiss cheese. It's great.
That motherfucker's great. Says, how do you do that? Well, you just start by digging a hole. That was it. 'Cause I just got a permit for a hole.
I just got a permit for a big
Fucking
fucking
Go to
hole.
Mars.
Yeah, that's great.
I'm Elon Musk. I can get permits for all kinds of crazy
Yeah.
shit. You know what I mean? Like,
Let me get this straight. So you're digging holes underneath the largest metropolitan city in the United States?
yes, I am.
Oh, okay.
sure,
I'm
there you
just
go.
making sure I got that one right. I just
Sign
wasn't-
off on that, but CBD's a no-go.
Yeah, right.
No, not in Louisiana or Alabama. or
What
anywhere.
permit office? I guess you should go engineering.
Yeah.
You know, like the same people that decide if you can
Dig.
like
The ones
redo
you
a
have to call
driveway.
before you dig in your fucking yard. You
Well,
gotta go to the
yeah,
same
that's a
people.
private company now, man. You just call and put them in the address, and they figure it out. And they
Elon
just,
has a direct line to God. You know,
Yeah.
he's just like,
Well,
look,
he's got
I want to do
Neuralink.
this.
the Neuralink.
That's
So
what it
did
is.
you say? I'm sorry. I told that's what the capability of it. What was his words? Maybe I think we asked you that. Maybe
The
you didn't
initial
answer.
capabilities.
Yeah, like what
You
is
really
the-
need to listen to it. I'm
Okay,
not. I mean,
okay.
I haven't. I listened to it once, and Tammy and I listened to it, and we were both like, "Wow,
Oh, shit.
that's fucked up." And I never listened to it again. But
I need to listen to it.
But I mean, he had like the physician that would be inserting it in you, the engineer that created it, of course, him and his vision. So he's got all these different people on the stage explaining it, explaining the physiology and the neurology behind it and the actual.
Did he say if he was going to get one?
Dude, that guy's
He's
already
got two.
has one.
He's
He's got
two.
Android on one side and Apple, on the other.
Those
They
guys,
argue, and that makes him work harder.
those guys have something well beyond. Think about what this guy's doing. I mean, he's building Neuralinks, rockets, tunnels, flamethrowers.
But-
This guy is off the chain.
But like
Oh shit! And I can barely mow my grass. Barely, fucking barely.
You know, we
It's-
were talking
it's-
about earlier about just that there being like different people out
Different
there.
levels.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like I can't even imagine
yeah.
even one of those projects.
No, that's awesome.
Well, yeah, it's
Autonomous
interesting.
cars.
Fuck,
I'm
I
sorry,
love
I didn't even throw
people
that
like
one in there.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, we could sit here and go, man, what if they had some kind of thing that would do so and so, so and so? But that's what he does, kind of, and he's making it work. He's trying to do all those things, you know? I mean,
So that's what we were talking about earlier. That's accessible to all of us. The idea behind morphological resonance is that every time he has an idea about putting this mechanism here and this, bam, it's in the ether. Now we all have access to it. It's all out there. We just have to get access to it by getting on that level or having that thought. It's all in there. We just have to sort of tap into it or have it fly by us. You know what I'm saying?
is it
Those
out there,
ideas.
though?
One
out there
idea.
in the way that we're all experiencing it on some, like, plane that we can't quantify? Or is it just because you heard about it? Like, is it out there to a guy in the Amazon or whatever? You know.
Well, they had one example. I was listening to a podcast earlier, and they were talking about it, and that's what I was trying to find. Is they were talking about some kind of monkeys or something like that somewhere, some small animals, where on this island, they figured out that if they dropped the fruit in the water, they could wash the sand off or whatever. I forget exactly what it was, but they figured out how to do that, and just over a very short period of time, these same type of animals on another island close to it within the chain, like they could never get to that island because there's fucking miles of water between them.
Yeah.
But those almost instantaneously figured out how to do that as well. Figured out how to do this mechanism to make this thing edible now. Does that make sense? So it happened very quickly. It happened. So that it's either that thing figured it out on its own, and it's just coincidence that it happened such a short period of time away from itself, or it shared energy somehow.
Yeah.
Graham Hancock talks about that in that book I'm reading.
Hell yeah. Please talk about that. I've been looking forward to hearing about that.
What's the name of it?
America's Civilization, Lost Civilization, something like that. Something along. Gosh, I'm sorry, I don't remember that.
I'm gonna Google it right quick while you talk about it. Yeah.
So he talks. First of all, he throws a monkey wrench right into the archaeological and anthropological sciences, and he's basically just telling us, like, look,
America before.
Okay, that's it. He's basically telling us, look, these sciences are locked into a paradigm, and in order for them to continue to perpetuate the paradigm, new findings have to be discredited before they can be integrated, because all of these new findings are completely shifting the paradigm. So, I'll give you an example.
Hold on. He said, I just want to cut you off. He said the new paradigms have to be discredited before they can be integrated.
By the academics. So you have people
before they can be. Yeah, okay, I got you. I thought you were saying those together.
They have a certain framework.
So
in which
they won't be integrated. I got you.
Right. So they won't be integrated.
I'll make sure I understood.
You know, so they have to be discredited and they have to be dismissed.
Yes.
For so long before they're integrated into the actual paradigm itself. It changes it completely, and it's really hindering our ability to understand our history. So he's talking about the development of not just temples on completely disparate parts of the earth that are separated by these large masses of water, but he's also talking about how we were building structures that are astronomically and archaeologically significant. In North America, for instance, in Louisiana, there's lots of mounds that have been constructed that are based on summer solstices, winter solstices, equinoxes, different astronomical, I guess, like figures in the sky, like the different constellations. They were lining up with the North Star, or they're lining up with stars in the Orion Belt. They were all pointing these structures, and for so long these scientists didn't want to get that integrated into their paradigm, because it completely changes what we've been taught as the history of, 1492. That's when Christopher Columbus came over here.
Yeah, we're starting to get rid of that too, though.
Well, not just that, but I mean, he says that there's like a Melanesian signal in the DNA of Amazonian tribes that can only be explained by them traversing the Pacific Ocean way before they ever said they did. And when the explorers first came here, there were these vast civilizations in the jungles of the Amazon that were way advanced and very highly populated and condensed in population, with advanced agricultural practices, along with the astronomical sites that they have, where they're aligning mounds, temples, huge geoglyphs in the earth towards these constellations, towards these these events, these solstices.
Is that the ones the civilizations where they were reported, but then whenever people came to back,
they couldn't find them.
They couldn't find them.
Because
did he give a time frame there?
They've been eradicated by.
Did he give a time frame for that?
Oh yeah.
So I was just wondering how quick he grew back over.
100 years.
So the Amazon, the jungle, reclaimed everything. In 100 years. That's fucking crazy.
And what he says is the reason why we know that there's these extensive ruins is because they're able to do LiDAR, aerial
LiDAR.
photography and surveillance, and it's a different type of radar, and they're able to penetrate the jungle to see these formations inside the jungle. And so there are just countless and just we're just scratching the surface right now. We don't even know what's really out there that the LiDAR is able to decipher and pick up. So it's gonna completely revolutionize our theories about or our thoughts about our history, Yeah, I mean and so anyway, so he goes back to saying that they were.
Sorry, I'm being so disturbing. I'm trying to get
okay.
this camera going. Just kind of fuck with it a little bit. Go ahead. I'm just interesting as shit though.
Yeah, but they were building these mounds with these with such astronomical accuracy and precision, and they were all building them around the same time. Yet there was no communication going on allegedly, and his theory is that there's some ancient knowledge that's beyond our grasp of proving right now, because the paradigm has been locked in for so long in this exclusionary manner where all these other ideas haven't been allowed into the academic paradigm of archaeology and anthropology.
So by ancient knowledge, he means just this existed before. He's not talking about the morphological rest and the shared energy.
He's not talking about
he's just talking
Atlantis
about
or anything like
energy.
that. But he's just talking.
Knowledge.
Just like ancient knowledge, something
that was before that we just don't know about,
and it's
we
beyond our
accept.
grasp.
Yeah.
Like we're not able to quite understand yet
how much they knew.
But I think
Gotcha.
the continued exploration and I guess revelations that we'll find out with continued studies, and also allowing these scientists to go off the plantation, so to speak, so that they can see these new things that have never been conceived before or even thought to have existed. I think that's really important, man. I mean, we've got to get out of this locked-in way of thinking, and I guess that gives people comfort, and it allows. Good Lord, I hope you didn't break your camera there, buddy.
Nah, that's good.
Yeah, comfort's a big thing.
Yeah, and I also think you have a lot of people who've invested, countless decades of
and their
work
education, money,
and their research, and so they've been publishing papers.
That's their life, and to say for them to have to step out and admit that their whole life, not as a lie, but it's not what they thought it was.
It's a misconception.
Yeah, and now they've been working towards something that's just now we have to admit it's not the way it was, a lie. And that's a hard thing, and you're not going to get many people that are going to be happy about
that. Not at
that,
all, man.
or even willing.
Yeah.
But how easy of a read is it?
It's very, very good. It's very easy. There's some technical stuff, like when he starts actually going through the different mounds.
Okay.
And just their positioning and how they're aligned and some of that stuff I just kind of glaze through because if I try to read it,
it'll put you to sleep, and
not that it's not interesting.
It slows you down.
But it's just so technical.
I'm never gonna have to know the coordinates of mountain.
He gives you coordinates.
That's a big negative.
Right. But you take away the general gist of things, and that's we're in a period of transformation when it comes to the way that we perceive our history, and it's really important that we remain open to all avenues of possibilities, because only then can you build a paradigm that's not only accurate in its reflection of our historical origins, but also allows us to understand who we are today, why we are the way we are today, and how we can guide ourselves moving forward to create a future that it includes us as a species and doesn't just self-eradicate.
How far along? Are you pretty much over with it? Are you done with the book, or you got to?
Yeah, it's like 500 something pages. I'm like 350 right now.
Dang, man,
that's quick.
That's
That is fast.
That's
dude.
some discipline, man. It's hard for me to read. We talked about that the other day too, man. It's like I can't read for an extended period of time. I'm good for like 15, 20 pages like once in a while for like a week at a time, and then I'll just at night 15, 20 pages. I may read a couple hundred pages over a week, and then I just don't read. After that. That's a lot.
I've been
for
practicing.
Me.
I wish I would have found it whenever my 3 weeks out of school started, but I've been practicing some of that dude's Jim Quick's reading faster stuff for comprehension and understanding and memory and all that stuff. I'm practicing. I might pay for some of his shit, but he's got like a podcast and little short episodes on different techniques, and I've been practicing that because I want to read more. I love reading, but same thing. I'm such a retard when it comes to speed.
Oh, dude, I am too, man.
I might as well be walking in fucking muddy snow. It's just so slow.
Yeah, I am too.
But
I think we all struggle. You have to be someone who's very disciplined and sits down every single day and says,
that's part of it. Yes, and I agree.
I'm going to read 200 pages.
Well,
now,
not even
me,
that. I think it's just time.
Yeah,
just
for
time
me,
behind the wheel.
To read.
So I'm gonna read 30 minutes every day, and you're gonna get better and better at it, better.
You are.
And if you don't, then you just don't. If you don't put the time in, you don't get any better, and you keep a mindset of I'm gonna read right before I go to bed. So now you're associating sleep with reading. Boring, just kill the day with it. Versus actively, I'm reading this because I want to know it, because I want to be entertained. It's always associated with dozing off. So even if I try to read in the middle of the day right after a cup of coffee, my brain's associated, the state is associated with sleeping. So I'm going to get sleepy trying to read because that's the state I'm always in. So we have to change.
Like you conditioned yourself.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so if we stay that way, then it's never going to change. And that's that's some of the stuff I'm learning from this guy. And I'm trying to, and there's a few other things that I think I'm getting faster pretty quick.
That's smart, man.
Yeah. I love reading, and I hate that.
I asked the question when he was talking about this, like, do you retain less because you're reading faster? And
he's saying no.
Yeah,
he's saying
there's
studies. Yeah, he's saying their studies show that faster readers actually retain more because.
Did y'all just talk about that while I was fucking with this? Okay. I thought maybe y'all just talked about that. Yeah, because I just thought like, well, if you read really fast, you maybe not retaining as much, but you. Yeah,
according to him, you're paying attention to more.
Right.
So your comprehension is going to be higher because if we sort of, it's easy for you to lose focus on what I'm saying because I'm going so slow. Versus if I'm talking faster, you have to focus on what I'm saying, so you're going to probably comprehend, or at least, very least, pay attention more, right? Because I'm talking fast. Oh shit, I got to pay attention. So when you're reading faster, you're not getting bored. You're not getting sidetracked as much. So you're more likely to pay attention and comprehend more. And that's just a little bit of what he says.
That's cool.
And I really like his stuff. I've been sort of glancing at it for a better part of a few months now, but now I just for some reason really got into it. And like I said, I wish I would have come into it 3 weeks earlier, because now I'm fixing to start school again. I'm trying to implement it as soon as I can. You know what I'm saying? Don't be such a retard. And I say that in the most respectful way possible.
Yes, we know.
I like the way I have to defend myself to no one. No one's saying anything. I got you.
Y'all keep talking. I'm trying to set this up so maybe we can just use this to record the video once in a while and just write to the hard drive.
Oh,
that'd
sweet.
be cool.
And then it'll just run the entire time. I can overlay video. I'm trying to figure out I can overlay video and shit while we're talking.
Nice.
Like Jamie type shit.
That'd be nice.
We'll fuck with it a little bit, so.
What's it called? Kinetic One. So do you remember Quintet, the grappling tournament with the?
Yes.
So it's team. So they just came out with another one. I think Uriah Faber had something to do with it, and Chael Sonnen, but maybe not Chael, but I know Uriah Faber did. But it's on Fight Pass and it's teams. But it was in L.A. and it's American based or whatever. I think Chael Sonnen had a team, Chris Lytle, but Gordon Ryan's. Craig Jones, Gordon Ryan, Lakeland Giles. And I forget the other guy on his team, but Lakeland just mowed through one. I watched the first match. He just mowed through everybody.
It's
awesome.
It's set up like Quintet?
Yeah.
Basically?
Yeah, it's 2 teams versus 2 teams. It's all semifinals and finals, so they'll have to go through it in a night. And I love that. I think that's so good for viewers, to gain viewers, especially spectators, because for whatever reason, it gives you something to look forward to, and it changes the atmosphere. It's not just this guy versus this guy. It's kind of boring. You start thinking, oh, if they both lose, they're both out, and that has to be these two guys. But if he wins, he has to go against their next guy, and now he's already tied. It's real fun. It's almost like I liken it's like football, the way there's teams and you have to look at the brackets. It's the same idea mentally. Yeah, I like it. Anyways, it came on last night and I was watching it this morning. It's really fun. I like all that.
Yeah, but dude, Craig Jones and Gordon Ryan on the same team. I mean, isn't that like having like Joe Montana and Walter Payton on the same team?
Well, you say that, but I mean, a lot of people overlook Lakeland Giles, who is, my understanding was Craig Jones's teacher. That's where he started, if I'm not mistaken.
Gotcha.
And then he became an anomaly or whatever, phenom, and went off and did a bunch of awesome shit. But I mean, he was the first competitor on his team, Lakeland, and he just knocked everybody out off of Chris Lytle's team.
Wow.
He submitted Chris Lytle pretty quick. He submitted Rico Rodriguez real quick, whom looks in way better shape than he did for a while there. He's an awesome black belt. But anyway, that's the new thing I was watching. And the other day when I texted you, one just had an event. I forgot I was supposed to be at home studying. And it came up on my phone that one event just started and Petrosian was fighting. And if you like high-level striking, it gets no better than Giorgio Petrosian. That dude's fucking phenomenal. Anyways, he lost a match a few months ago to some high-level Thai guy. And then they had to fight again for some reason, and he won that. So he advanced in the finals, and in the tournament, and he fought Joe Natawat, Smoking Joe, a high-level Thai guy, and he fucking finished him in the first round this time. And he lost to him a while back. That was the whole card. Stamp Fairtex, this phenom Thai fighter, girl, or chick, lady, woman. She goes and she fights.
What happened?
I'm going to label her as many ways as I can, so I'm not as
what is this
sexist. Minus the you watermelon seed the shit out of me earlier at jiu-jitsu, man.
I'm sorry.
I had to stop. No, it's life.
Where does the term watermelon seed come from?
It's where something pushes, usually a knee, pushes your nuts, one of your nuts against your leg so hard where it's going to fire out. Like when you try to pick up a watermelon seed and it shoots out.
Oh, I got a funny story about something similar to that.
Go for it.
I think I might have told y'all. I'm sorry, by the way.
For what?
For doing that.
I was trying to just 2 kids. I don't need it.
Well, you don't need
any
more. Yeah.
I want him to work, but not them.
I was rolling with Viking with Eric one time, and he got my back, of course, and he got a body triangle locked in.
Of course.
Did I tell you about this? Maybe I did. So when he was scooping me, he was like, he had the hooks, and he was going to do this to cross his leg over my chest. And when he was scooping me, his leg grabbed my dick and pulled it up. And when he crossed his leg, the head of my dick was right here on his heel. And he was crushing it against my body. Like, just the head was, like, up in there. And I was like, I don't really want to tap. This is weird. I got to tell you kind of what you're doing.
Hey, man, you got my dick.
Yeah. I was like, you kind of got my dick right now. He's like, I'm sorry. I was like, oh. And I was like, no, I mean, it's all right. Like, it doesn't feel good, but let's see where it goes.
I think I just finished.
He got him kind of.
Just keep going, man. I'm done.
Just keep going. It's all good.
Done.
It's all
Let me
good.
take this condom
But
off.
it started to hurt. Like it took. Like all of a sudden, I got a little worried. I was like, "Oh shit, hang on, man. You got my dick." You know, like.
You call that move the handler.
What do you call it? What?
The handler.
Yeah, the handler. Yeah, it was. I don't know, man. It was just one of them stories. It's one of them jiu-jitsu stories.
Awesome, dude.
All right. I just recorded a bunch. All right. I don't know if that's gonna work or not. I'm gonna fuck around with this, but
what I was talking about was Stamp Fairtex. If you haven't heard of her, she's just a phenom. She's 21 years old, maybe 22, but excellent Thai fighter if you like striking. But she comes in and fights an MMA fight. Apparently, her first MMA fight a few months ago, she finished the girl with 2 kicks. 2 kicks, girl was done. And this fight, world class Muay Thai, multiple time champ. The girl, eventually, she takes that young lady down because they were saying, "Oh, Stamp better be careful," because the other young lady got her last opponent a guillotine real quick. Anyway, Stamp Fairtex takes her down. I mean, beautiful jiu-jitsu, constantly going straight to mount. Beautiful, maybe this a strong word, but her transitions, this world-class Muay Thai fighter, 22 years old, is picking up jiu-jitsu quick.
Yeah.
Fucking
She's a warrior,
awesome.
man. She's
yeah.
got it.
And eventually she rear naked choked the girl.
Yeah.
Which was just, like I said, you're not putting money on Fairtex rear naked choking somebody. It was fun to watch. Anyways,
So you think that's due to morphic resonance?
It could be. That's a good point.
Maybe she just believed she was good at jiu-jitsu.
True that.
And she just was like,
And she got a whole camp behind her that believe it too.
No, I'm thinking of she's never done it.
Yeah, never done it.
Like,
she just believes
I
it.
believe
Man.
I'm good. And I'm kicking it right there.
That's Neuralink right
She
there,
got the
baby. Her
Neuralink.
transitions were Neuralink.
She got
Either
the
Neuralink
Neuralink.
belief or bad motherfucking
It's funny how you can
coaches.
tell right away when somebody does like puts a knee or puts an arm or does something. You're like, oh, okay, they know what they're doing.
Yeah,
you know,
you're
like
like,
you know,
oh,
like
fuck.
right away.
Yeah.
Of course, anybody who's in MMA has got to do some jiu-jitsu. I mean, you have to. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? But to pick it up so quick, like she is, you know,
And I would like
so
to see
young.
her, like, after a few fights, come to the UFC, which I don't think she will. But it'd be nice to see her against somebody else. Like I'd like to see her versus a Karate Hottie. That'd be a great. Is she
Yeah.
still one? I think it's atom weight.
Hasn't she won a lot of submission, like by submission
Yeah.
several times, like rear naked choke and a couple.
Yeah,
other
she's
things?
gotten
armbar
yeah.
or something.
She finished. Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
She's got good. She's got good submissions.
What weight class is she? Like,
That's what I'm trying to remember. I thought she used to be atom weight,
atom weight,
which is 105. I might have made that up. I know the number is 105 for atom weight, but I might have made up that she used to be in that. Because I guess she's in straw 125. Because she's not fighting. She fought. Yeah. She was gonna fight Jan Jacek. So, or Rose.
Yeah,
Did she
Jacek,
fight
that's
Rose?
I don't know. She,
Yeah, it was- that's
whoever I saw she
125.
fought last, she beat pretty bad. It was a
Yeah,
it
that's
was a-
125.
Yeah.
Because 135 is Valentina.
I saw Gabby Garcia was training with Donaher's crew with Craig Jones and
Motherfucker, I didn't know that.
and Gordon Ryan.
Yeah, that's the only person who give Gordon Ryan a run for his money.
Dude, like when I
She's
tell you
bigger
that
than
like they were
him.
taking pictures together, like she out angled Gordon Ryan, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
Yeah, she
young
looks more
lady
swole
is
than Gordon Ryan.
big. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you think she's on some testosterone?
I don't want to speculate. I hear that she's a fine lady.
I'm sure she is.
And she looks very
See, when
deadly.
you put her beside Cyborg, that's a good argument that Cyborg might not be on anything. You know what I'm saying? when compared to that young lady, and she
Yes.
might not be.
She
Even though
may
was
not
popped.
be.
But
She may not be, but man, she is built.
what does she do? Is the issue? Is my issue? What does a phenomenal specimen like that do? Because she's so far off the charts. You're not going to find someone that can even compete with her, female wise. I mean, she fought like a 40-year-old grandma. I mean, that was an assault. That should have been illegal.
I saw that.
But who do you get to compete with her? Yeah, I respect the fact that she wants to compete, but there's no one.
She'll find work in Japan.
Yeah, that's where she's working. She's fighting out of one. I think, or no, Ryzen. Ryzen's even
Ryzen.
worse than one. I mean, one's not bad, but Ryzen's where you go if you want to inject all of it. It's fucking awesome, and I think that's where you should. I think that they should be able to if they want to, but they should know.
You think they put her against a man?
You know, I was thinking about that earlier because they were talking about
that guy that
what's his face. Cejudo's got the intergender champion shirt. That's so funny.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
so they were
Who does he
just
wanna
making a
fight?
joke about
Who does
him
he say he
fighting
wants-
Valentina Shevchenko
Yeah.
and Nunez, and they're making jokes about it, which is awesome. But at some level, I would never want it to happen because I just don't think that's right. But if they agree to it, let's do it. Never, you wouldn't put her against, say, Daniel Cormier. You wouldn't put a champion dude against her.
You wouldn't put a
but
185er against her.
If she's 185, no.
Yeah, she's 185.
No, you might if she's high enough level, you might put like a low level 185, like maybe his first fight in the UFC if she was UFC style or whatever. But you'd almost want to start lower than that. Like if she's 185, put her against somebody who's not really cutting weight from 155. Maybe if we're gonna make them fight men.
You don't just fight them weight class wise. You don't just stick her in there or something. Like you said, I mean, it's got to be somebody. If it's her first fight,
Yeah.
stick her in with
That's what I'm
somebody
thinking.
who's
I
just
think
just got a couple in, break it in. Maybe
because
his
we know
record's kinda,
she's
maybe he's 4-2 or something or
Yeah.
whatever, or some shit like that.
records kind of lie sometimes.
Yeah.
Maybe all he fought was killers. You know.
True. Yeah. Or
But
maybe
yeah,
just
somebody
new.
that we know for sure they're not Cejudo's level. We can't put that against somebody
Yeah.
who weighs the same. But maybe we can put her against a guy, like you said, first fight in the UFC. Maybe he's looking to be on the Contender Series or something like that. But man, that's a weird slippery slope.
Like maybe her versus Tony Ferguson, like that weight class.
Man, I think Tony Ferguson would beat the fuck out of her, dude. I don't think that'd be nice.
I think any guy is gonna punch her, and it's gonna be a different thing than if a girl punches her.
Yes, I think so as well. But Tony, that's too high a level for me for that. You make sense?
So it'd
have to be entry level 155.
Yeah,
yes,
155
that weight class.
in that weight class.
It have to be that. Yeah, I think that would be a good start because too small, it starts to get. You always want to. Most people want to keep maintaining the idea that any guy's going to have a hand up because he's a guy, but.
Have you seen her?
That's what I'm saying. That's some people are just that's ignorant. It's ignorant because you take the dude that works at Walmart and he's not going to have a hand up. But let's say an athlete, any athletic guy that's fighting is going to have a hand up. Some people would think that, and I just don't think that's the truth. I just don't think. Man, I don't know, but yeah, it would be fun. It'd be one of those things that you're only going to see that shit in Rising. You're only going to see her fight a dude in Rising. Maybe it's a grandpa. Maybe it has to be one of those. Maybe you have to introduce it by fighting this dude who's way past his prime and it was never really that good, but he's got a bunch of experience. That's how you can sell the fight. Or, because, I mean, you don't really want to give her this young fucking buck. Because, like you said, any dude that hits her, it's going to be kind of hard because of our structure. But she's got her jaw's as big as my fucking knee. You know what I'm saying? That's a big young lady.
Cro-Magnon. So
let's make her fight Crow Cop.
Hey, that might be interesting.
No, he's too big. Damn, she's only 185.
Well, what's he?
He's like heavyweight.
He's been
240.
lazy. What if he just went on a?
He's been killing people for his country.
What if he just went fast for a while or something? He's been
Fast.
killing. Is he still? Isn't he like special forces or something?
He was in Croatia, and then I think he's in their government now. Not like KGB, but something. Senator or some shit like that, whatever they equate to over there in Croatia.
Right.
I think he's been doing something like that.
So what about a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu video game?
Well, there are.
How far off are they with this?
Well, they have. That is not what I meant to do.
I don't think they have one.
I'm just saying.
They have the
at some
UFC video
point,
games, and there's jiu-jitsu in it. I mean, you have to. It's weird.
Have you played those before?
Yes, and you don't have to understand jiu-jitsu. You just have to know when to push a particular button.
The only way those are going to work real good, like even the UFC, I don't like them because I don't. Probably because I'm not good at it or whatever, but I can figure out how to. The point is, there's a formula to it, and you can get good at it.
Yeah.
Sure.
But the only way it's going to be the way somebody wants it to be, like you want it to be this jiu-jitsu experience.
Totally immersive.
It's only going to be VR. Yeah. It's going to be the augmented reality. And that's where the Ready Player One stuff comes in. That'd be fun. That'd be really fun if you could practice, or if you, like we were talking about, if we can go into another, if we can find that loophole, that wormhole, you'd still get hurt, so that's different. If we could find a wormhole and find me over there, but a black belt, so I can roll with me as a black belt constantly and train, or you know what I'm saying? I'm not really cheating. I'm just got this dude that I know my style, and so he's got to better me because he knows exactly what the fuck I'm gonna do. So I have to be dead on with all my stuff. And as soon as I get good with him, I'll go through and, without telling you guys, get Phillip's black belt version, and I have to keep him in my closet or something, and just pull him out to grapple at home for a bit, and put him back until I get really good, and I can put him back or show you, hey, look what I got you, dude. I got you.
Yeah, but what if he gets smart one day and he chokes you out and then puts you in the closet?
Well, have you
and
seen that movie Us?
And now it's.
Have you seen that movie Us? That's
the same idea.
Yeah, that's pretty.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I didn't appreciate that after I watched it for what it really was, the ending, until I started thinking those terms. Then I started, because I told my brothers I didn't like it, blah blah blah, and I went along with it. And until I started thinking in those terms, I really got to appreciate the ending.
Yeah.
Because what if? Because he's a black belt, right? I'm not a black belt. He knows everything I'm going to do. Of course he can murder me, but why murder me? Let's just take my life over. But he could kill me and take my life over. But I was reading a book about that too, where they were going through and like finding other, like the evil version of me. He had a problem, like not me, but the evil version of the main character had a problem with his hands. Maybe he caught a disease or something. They kept decaying and falling off. So he had to go through these other ones and kept getting this guy another version of him that he didn't give a fuck about, and he had a doctor that was going to replace the hands. But to do that world was going to end, and there's a whole thing to it. Anyways, same thing. Going through different worlds.
This is a book that you're reading?
I read it. It was really fun. Timecasters is two of them. Real fun books.
Cool.
Anyway, BJJ video game. I think right now they're building the market for Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu even more, so I think it'd be out there. I don't know how well it'd pick up.
How possible? I mean, how could you even make it
Even close to what it normally is.
I mean,
I don't know.
It all just turns into
XXYB.
Yeah, pushing a button at the right time.
Yeah.
Maybe even like a good like first-person shooter or something where you're like, wow, this is super immersive. They still at some point kind of turn into just clicking and pushing. I mean, that's what you're doing. You're not really running. You're not really jumping. You know.
Yeah. You'd have to formulate the buttons, I think, where it would be different buttons would do different things in different scenarios, and you'd have to know every single one of those scenarios. They'd be like a certain like structured silo. So like let's say like you're in technical mount. Well, if I'm on offense, if I'm actually mounted, like I'm the person that's mounting, in technical mount, then I'll have X, Y, A, B to do certain things, and then the person that's on the bottom will have X, Y, A, B to do certain things. But then like once a transition occurs, well then you go to let's say
a new list of things.
It'd be like a list. Yeah,
gotcha.
It wouldn't be like how it is with us, where in real life there's all these like transitional.
And that's sort of how the UFC game is.
Yeah.
You have these options from this position. And as soon as you switch positions, you press the same button, it's this other action that's going to happen. Like they'll jab, or if they get closer, they'll clinch with the same button.
That'd be so confusing.
Yeah, that's why it's so little possibilities that they can do. They have to say, okay, you can only clinch, you can only do these 3 or 4 options.
Right.
That's why I don't like it.
Right.
It's just not immersive enough for me. But some people love that shit. I wish I played video games more. Maybe I'll get into it after school as a hobby.
Not me, man. Dude, video games are a time stealer.
Yes, they are. That's why I quit playing them years ago, because I said I'm doing nothing with this.
Right.
Nothing at all. I just want everything, and it still doesn't change anything except I'm wasting time.
I love video games, but I will be the first person that goes on a 48-hour binge on Grand Theft Auto when it first comes out, and not eat, not drink anything, not use the bathroom except for extreme emergency. I mean, it's horrible.
Yeah,
it's horrible. I'd get sucked right into it. That's why I don't do it. I just stay away from it.
Josh and them and Nate, and I think Tim plays with them too.
Yeah,
they like Saturday night and Friday night, usually at least Friday night. And they tell me this. They'll play from fucking 9 o'clock till 4 the next morning. These
like
video
with
games.
each other?
Yeah, and they'll sit there across, whether they're talking on their headphones and stuff.
They play a lot of League of Legends.
I don't know what any of this stuff is yet.
It's a particular game. It's super popular. It's one of the most popular video games in the world. But they'll like get drunk and they all talk on Discord through a talking service over the internet and just play, and it's match after match after match after match. My son,
and it seems fun.
It's fun if you're into it. I mean, I'll sit there sometimes and play like Quake, which is a totally different type of game.
Yeah, I remember playing Quake.
But it's like I can just go, I'm done.
You ever play GoldenEye?
Oh, dude, me and a friend on Nintendo 64, we used to play GoldenEye all the damn time,
right,
man.
Dude, I used to love it.
But
I used to play a Tom Clancy game. It was like one of those respawn games.
Yeah, where you had to like design your mission and all that. Is that what it was?
No, it was
after those.
It was
Splinter
single.
Cell or whatever.
It was like
okay.
Something like that.
Yeah.
I got you.
You
probably like those old
people.
ones. They were before. Oh, they were computer. But it was
What
Tom Clancy's. No, I don't know what I'm trying to say with that. But you had to design your mission.
You'd like Dragon's Lair and Pac-Man. You know?
You like D&D? I used to play D&D. I used to like it.
Pathfinder.
And Magic. Have you ever heard of Pogs?
I've heard of that. I don't know what this is.
They got real big when I was living in Hawaii. They got big. I don't know that they ever caught on here, and they're definitely a dead thing now. They started as like the little caps out of milk to keep it sealed whenever it was on. You pull it out. There's like a little cardboard cap.
Yeah, a little cardboard.
It started out as those, and then they got to where they would design them and stamp pictures on them, and you'd buy them. And what you do is you take them. They're probably the size of maybe an inch and a half in diameter, and you just stack them up, and you would take your hitters, which are a little thicker, and you would smack the stack against somebody. They'd put 6 in, you put 6 in, and you'd smack it, and whichever one's flipped over, you got to keep. So you're playing this game. But they never caught on, and then we were talking on the other day for some reason. Anyways, that's a game that I don't know if anybody, like 6 people in the U.S. know about.
Do you remember Spinges?
Spinges, I I think so. They had like their little. They weren't bigger than hell, half my finger.
They were little
but
tiny
they had little
things.
knights and little ninjas, and
It
they
like
you'd
had-
shoot them into the little arena, and they bounce into each other.
Yes,
Yeah.
in the arena, you opened up and held them in place.
Yes.
And you close. You had a spinner, and so you just put the little thing in there. It was like a Lego looking man kind of, but he was a ninja.
Yeah.
And he'd have a sword or throwing star nunchucks, and had knights and shit. And they had, and the bottom of it was shaped like a spinning top, just a cone basically. You wind them up in this little thing, and there was an arena that was shaped like a bowl.
Yeah.
And you'd shoot them in from each side, and they would just bang into each other, and whoever got knocked out lost. It was, I mean, it was
Yeah.
I just play with them for hours, just wind them up, do it by myself in a little arena and shit.
Well, didn't that start as a game called like Ring of Fire, where it was it looked like a saw blade that was flames, and it was a spinner on the bottom of it, and you would put them in there and it'd shoot it, and they would just.
I don't remember that.
That little saw blades. I thought it started as that.
I remember.
But
I mean,
remember that
after
one too.
Spinjas or before Spinjas, because then they came out with one when my kid was little called Beyblade, which was kind of the same thing. But it
Yeah.
was just like reincarnated.
Yeah.
You know how they do,
I think
keep
they
doing
still
Ninja
have that
Turtles.
in-
Yeah, they do. I see it
Yeah.
in Target or whatever. Because I walk through the toy, I go look at Legos and shit at the toy aisle in Target, and
I
I'm like,
saw it
oh,
on
look at
your
that.
table. That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah, man. I every once in a while,
Legos are
just
so expensive.
they are, man. And I'll buy one, and it'll sit
Motherfucker.
on a bookshelf for like a year, or somebody will give me one for Christmas or my birthday or something. And it'll sit for a year, and then one day I'll just put on some show on TV and like all right, and I'll just sit and build it. You know what I mean?
That's awesome.
Or whatever. It's fun. Or like
I brought my. I'm sorry, man.
no,
Go
no,
ahead.
no. Go ahead. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna say that I brought my daughter to Target a few weeks ago, and I was like, "We're gonna go to the toy section, and you can pick out a toy. You've been good this week." And she was real, excited about it. We get to Target, and she goes to the first aisle, and she's like, "Oh God, look at all this stuff! I didn't realize there was so much stuff." And And so I'm like, "Okay, well, after about 15 minutes on this one aisle, I'm like, there's other aisles." And she's like, "I guess she didn't understand what that meant." And so finally, I was like, "Look, let's go over here." And when I was able to get her onto another aisle, she looked at it, and then she looked back at the other one, and then she looked down down the row, and there's like all these aisles, and she had this realization that like, oh wow, like there's a bunch of toys.
There's a bunch of toys.
So,
Yes.
has she ever been to a Toys R Us or anything like that?
We brought her to a toy store in Shreveport.
That's awesome.
And she just
Yeah.
loved it.
That's what I'm
man.
thinking.
Dude, I
Kids are
fucking
gonna-
love Toy
Yeah, me
Stories,
too.
man.
Yeah.
I fucking love them.
Absolutely,
They're awesome.
absolutely. And they don't have Toys R Us anymore. Like
Yeah.
when we grew up, like there
I
was
think,
toys.
isn't there one in Lafayette still? Or
Is
is it
there?
closed?
I think
there
they
is.
closed that one
They
too.
closed it,
Dude,
yeah.
I'm not sure.
I thought they had closed all of
Maybe-
them.
They
maybe.
closed all of them, or fucking damn near
I
all
think
of
they-
them.
yeah, I think they went out of business.
So you just have to
man.
find the little actual
That
toy
one was
stores.
open for a long time.
Yes.
The Toys R Us in Lafayette.
Now they have like independent novelty toy stores,
Yes.
and they're much smaller than Toys
Yeah.
R Us. Obviously, Toys R Us was literally the Walmart for toys.
Yes. Oh, for sure.
Yeah, it was fucking
You know.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to like looking at the remote control cars, like the big, like remember for like $89.99,
Yeah.
but when we were like,
Might as well be
$7,
$1,000,
might as well be
yeah.
like $6.99 now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like those kind of remote control cars, the big gigantic
Yes.
wheels and the big old remotes took like 19 AA batteries
Yeah.
and shit. I used to think that
fucking
kind of stuff
crazy.
was so cool, man.
I like the video games
Me too,
and
for
the
sure.
action figures.
Yeah, G.I.
So,
Joe's
so we were
my
talking
shit.
about action figures the other day. Do you remember something called Battle Beasts?
Me and you talked about this. Yeah, I
Okay,
had
yeah,
some.
we
Yeah, we
did.
looked them up. Remember? Do
Yeah,
you remember?
yeah,
them?
we were okay.
I don't know about Battle Beast.
You don't remember
Uh,
Battle
they,
Beast?
they,
Beast?
were, they were
Battle
about that
Beast.
tall, and they had like a window on the chest with a symbol because they were either earth, fire, water, whatever. And you look through the back with the light, and you could
Yeah,
see
okay,
a
yeah,
symbol.
yeah. I
And they were
remember
like
that.
rhinos and a monkey or whatever. And
Yeah.
I used to love those fucking
Yeah, yeah,
things.
yeah, I
I tried to
remember
show
that.
my son the other day.
And it didn't
Pretty
have a
expensive.
cartoon though too,
Yes.
and they projected it like a
Yeah.
holograph.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. I remember this now. Nice.
I had looked. Oh, what the fuck? Who are these people?
That's like a Battle Boys.
Look at this band called Battle Beast. Oh my god, we got to remember to tag this. Look at this. What
Oh
happened?
man,
Look.
these guys are not playing. Wait, is that
Battle
a chick
Beast,
in the middle?
is that
Yeah,
what it's
it's a
called?
chick.
Yeah, it's a chick
It's a
singer.
chick.
Battle Beast is the name of that?
Summer Breeze
Battle
2019, y'all. Battle Beast. Get your
Woo,
tickets
look,
now.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Let's make this a little more specific.
Why don't we play some Battle Beast, dude?
Here,
I mean,
these
That's
little
what I'm trying to do right now.
Like these things right
yeah,
here.
probably get us pulled from YouTube.
You had
Uh,
those?
I'm gonna.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I don't know if we have enough.
Okay, yeah, no.
People-
Oh, but I did find the history of Battle Beast, the little cartoon. Cool.
Yeah, there was a
Anyways,
little short
we'll
cartoon.
listen to it afterwards. Just pull it up
Yeah,
on my
for
YouTube.
sure.
Yeah, I remember these.
little things.
Yeah,
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 yeah.
Like I even had that one for sure. You know what I mean? I had that owl and shit. We did this. Me and Ben did this on the podcast. That shall not be named. We talked about this stuff the other day. I had that dude. Anyway, yeah.
I was super into G.I. Joe, man.
Man, me too. I had all kinds of G.I. Joes.
G.I. Joe,
dude.
Star Wars.
I didn't have too many Star Wars
Did you ever
things.
take the G.I. Joes apart and like switch the legs,
Yes.
switch the backs with the fronts?
A little
and
bit.
stuff?
A little bit, yeah.
All the time, man.
Yes.
And you know, I tried to explain this to people, and a lot of times I get just blank stares from them. And I wonder to myself, like, did I, like, imagine
Make
that?
it up. I think that a lot. I wonder if my memories, because our memories are all just shit anyways, how much of that stuff is just made up, because you can convince people of shit. Pretty easy is the wrong word, but yeah. Anyways, I do the same thing.
It's ephemeral, you know. It's like it's real fleeting. It's like,
Yes.
well, did that happen, or did I make that up? One of the things I liked about it was
That's
that
what I'm
you could,
hoping happens. I'm
Ephemeral?
sorry.
Does that mean like you always say
sorry.
words?
I
I have to
didn't mean
ask
to.
you what they mean. I feel like an idiot.
It's like
What do you think?
like time is ephemeral, you know.
Like it's hard to quantify.
it's
I mean, like
fleeting.
it's a thing, but it always moves, or
It's it's hard to, you know.
it's fleeting. Is that what you said?
Fleeting,
Fleeting. Okay,
Anyway,
we'll go with that.
I'm sorry.
Anyway, yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, just being able to take the evil characters, Cobra, and mix them in with
Yes.
the G.I. Joes and make like whole new characters. And
Yes.
it's like these hybrid characters. And you would go and like your friends would come over and they'd be like, I've never seen this one before. And you're like Snake Eyes, you
Yeah.
know, mixed with
The Cobra
Destro.
head,
You're
Yeah.
like, what?
Who's the guy that had the alligator as the pet? He had the shit. He had like an alligator jacket on with no shirt.
Was he a G.I. Joe? Is
Yeah,
that
he
what
was
you're
G.I.
saying?
Joe's. Yeah, he was a Joe, not a Cobra.
I'm not gonna remember.
They always had like a Cobra like equivalent.
Yes,
You know what I mean?
yes.
Like Snake Eyes had Snowblind or whatever the fuck
Yeah.
his name was, the white Cobra guy. Yeah. Dude, one of my friends bought out a website a while back, a bunch of them, I think, actually. They had re-released a lot of the G.I. Joes and stuff, and they had redone the 80s packaging and stuff, and this was like 15 years ago. And there was this toy company online, like a website that went out of business, and he contacted him. He was like, hey, what do you have? And they sent him a list, like an inventory of all the stuff they had available, and it was like these particular G.I. Joes, we got 500 of those, these toys, we got these things, these Star Wars figures and stuff. So he was just like, fuck it, I want it all. So he bought this huge online company and just stuck it up in his attic for like 15 years. G.I. all kinds of stuff, re-releases, new ones, several different, you know, G.I. major toy brands and stuff, you know. And he put it on his attic for like 10 or 15 years, and then a while back he sold it all on eBay. Made a shitload of money. I mean, like in a couple of months he made like 50 grand, like selling it all back, and he bought it for like pennies on the dollar.
Oh,
And
wow.
now they're all like doubled and tripled and not all of them, but a lot. Some of them like barely worth what he paid for, and then some of them are worth like 50 times what he paid for.
Wow.
And he'll have like a box the size of a refrigerator full of them. You know what I mean? He's like, yeah, I paid 4 cents for those. Now they're worth $17 a piece on eBay, and I got 3,000. Like what? You know what I mean? Like that kind
Hell
of shit.
yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It was crazy, dude. I mean, it was. And he was. I'd go over there. He'd be up all night long, like smoking cigarettes and like on. You got 3 computers going, packaging them all up and sell them and shit. Now
That's
he's making.
cool.
Now he's taking expanding foam and different things, and he's making scale explosions where he does the expanding. He does balloons and poles through the balloons. He like tapes balloons of different shapes and sizes to poles, and then sprays expanding foam on them. And he puts lights up underneath them, so these like fiber optic poles come up through, and he paints them like black at the end and gray and all that shit, so it looks like a IED going boom and blowing up. And he's making them. He's making like I went over his house and he's got like bookshelves and he's making 7 or 8 at a time. These are drying. And he's touching these up over here, and he shows me on eBay where he's selling it for like $200 a pop. I'm like, what, dude? Are you serious? Yeah, like $159, $183, $200. Like, are you kidding me, dude?
Do you know what this is called?
His website is 2 Scale Creative, I think. Maybe we should maybe be calling him out and like saying like, yeah, it's just bullshit. And he's something. It's actually he's really creative.
No, it
though.
sounds very
It's very
interesting and
creative.
entrepreneurial.
Yeah, it's very entrepreneurial. It's
Yeah.
not. I mean, it's very like
Yeah,
artistic.
that sounds awesome.
Yeah, he's making like assembly lines and selling. I think it's 2 Scale Creative is what
Yeah,
is
when
what
I
the
put
name of
2
it.
scale. That's the first thing that comes up is 2 scale. Oh wow!
You see him? Yeah, let me see what
It's
it looks
a deep.
like.
There's this one. I don't know if it's his, but it's a deep impact diorama on Etsy.
That's probably his.
Holy shit! How creative is that? See, stuff like that, even simple stuff. I'm not saying that I guess I just call it simple, but
it's really. I mean, you think it is, but that's like really selling it short. It's really not.
That's what I'm saying.
That's pretty crazy.
That's fucking awesome. I would never be able to do that.
I was like, you go over there and he takes these kind of pictures of them all the time, and these are like the GI Joe men that are like this tall. Yeah, that kind of shit. You think, oh, that's simple, but it's really not. It takes so much thinking and the artistic quality and all that, and it really isn't fucking simple. But he's got it down to where he can make like 10 at a time, and you know what I mean?
What are we looking at right here?
So this is like,
that's his stuff?
Yeah, this is him. So
cool.
Look, let's look at pictures, products, gallery.
Go back to that picture though.
Okay, wait.
That was incredible.
Look, there's a lot of them like this. Yeah, I'll go. So that's the picture, but he took it from a different angle. I thought there were more. So he just, we can go back to it though. He just got down real low and took a picture. So these are like, like 8-inch, 10-inch GI Joe men's with very, very, very articulate body parts.
Wow,
dude! I went over there one day and he has these strippers
scale creative
that are
right?
like foam. They have like dildo material bodies, and inside it's this real complicated metal skeleton, but it's like a chick. Nipples and everything, and I have two of them, and I was playing with them, and I started doing jiujitsu moves where I started like putting them in triangles and stuff. I was like, these things are amazing. They're like this big, so it's like two little
and
naked.
He made them?
No, when he buys them, he can interchange the heads and the hands and the feet and all that. But they have little guns that are like this big that the racks slide and the clips go in and out. And shit.
When the quote unquote they come for us, they're sending those things. Just armies of them.
Yeah,
armies of
little tiny
dildo robots.
Yeah. Have you ever seen that movie? You remember that movie,
you
Toy
put your toe in a
Soldiers?
triangle.
Small soldiers.
Small soldiers.
Yeah, we were watching that the other day with my son.
Soldiers.
I went trying to find that shit online. You know how much that shit is? Like $300.
Yeah. See, that's what he. Yeah, I know, man. Like
motherfucker.
crazy.
It's just a toy. The original Hasbro small soldier, $300 used to be $15.
I can't. Let's see, eBay store. I thought he had more pictures in this. I don't know why. I wanted to show you more pictures. But yeah, man, so like this kind of stuff right here, like this stuff, it's crazy what he makes it out of. Like these concrete bunkers, he'll like cut them out of foam and then like soak paper towels and epoxy and wrap them on there. And then he's figured out a way to like make it look like concrete. I mean, it's crazy, So it sounds simple, and it's not. It's really not. He's got closets full of paints and epoxies, and he's always experimenting with it. Well, I tried this, and it kind of looked like wood. But I was really trying to make concrete, and then he'll show me this thing he made out. It looks like wood, and this one I was trying to make glass, and it made this like other
awesome
thing.
He can do that.
Yeah, that's incredible.
It's crazy.
Does he do something else? Not to call this guy out, but is that his?
He has a degree in industrial design from a place in. SCAD, was it like the South Carolina Advanced Design or South Carolina Industrial Design or something like that? I don't remember. Something in South Carolina.
But I mean, is he employed by somebody? Is he
he's just doing this.
That's fucking awesome. Good for him.
Yeah, he's doing
I
this
love
right
to
now.
hear that.
He's got like an industrial laser cutter. And he's been like,
wow.
He's got one literally. He'll etch glass. It's got a cutting surface that's like this big. It's water cooled.
Yeah.
And it's the size of a fucking VW Bug, and it's in a extra garage they have at his house. He'll go out there and like cut something because he I'm just rambling about this guy now, but it's just amazing. Like I'll go with him like, what are you doing? He bought a bunch of plywood, and he's really good at CAD programs too, like AutoCAD and SolidWorks and stuff. He made these like 2x4s that interlock. So now instead of him having to build all these things by hand, he can cut out like 500 of them at a time,
on this machine,
and then make the framing of like a house. It looks awesome. Like he'll frame around the doors and all that, and then he covers them with.
Does he have children?
He has 2 kids. Yeah,
that's cool.
2 kids. Yeah.
How cool would that be?
See, guys like that make me feel so simple.
Yeah, it's insane, man. And he's like, he'll be like, yeah, I'm a little crazy because his brain's just. He's like, I wonder if I put.
You
epoxy.
Figured out a way to harness it, though.
Yeah, he's using, and it's amazing.
He's got that net. He's catching those ideas with that net.
I mean, how did you make that?
Awesome.
And he'll show me what he used. I'm like, I would have never thought to use that or whatever. You know? And he's literally just creating dioramas and stuff.
So how do we tap into that? Speaking
I don't know.
of the morphological resonance, that's what we want. I want to be able to tap into shit like that. Well, the way we tap into it's the neural link, right? Well, that's the simple way.
Well, how about the
right
recognition
now?
that even exists? Like I didn't even know this existed until just now.
Yes, that's why I kept calling him out.
Oh, this exists.
Yeah, I was like, "You're gonna make money at this?" And he was like, "Dude, I'm making all kinds of money doing this." And he showed me. I was like, "Oh yeah, you're making money. Like you're making more money than me just fucking making toys." Like, damn.
That's
You know what I mean?
Wow.
Like, wow, man.
That's awesome, man.
That's awesome. And what he wanted to do with his degree was work at a big toy company and, like 3D printing, prototyping toys. And when you were talking about taking the G.I. Joe man apart, he's literally got these like 8, 10, 12, 15-inch, like, and I'm talking like their fingers move and shit and their knees and their ankles. And they have, instead of being plastic skin, they have like a synthetic rubbery skin that covers the skeleton, so you can't even see the joints. So their feet will do this.
They're
and everything.
fully articulated.
You literally can put them in triangles and Kimura grips and stuff, and I mean like rear naked choke stuff. It's crazy.
Wow.
And they're like this big.
That's awesome.
Anyway, I just thought it was cool, and he's selling these things online. I've rambled enough about that. It's pretty cool. 2Scale Creative, check it out if you want some diorama shit.
Nice.
Anyway,
that all started with you bringing Aspen to
Target.
Target. I didn't mean to say your name, but yeah. So finish that story. Was it just her being like, "Whoa, there's all this toys," That's awesome.
And I was immediately pulled back to when I was a child.
Oh yeah.
And just completely enthralled
That's
by
cool.
going to a toy store.
Well, did you give her just because me wondering how I do with my kids? Did you give her a limit like we're gonna get you a toy? It's gonna be no more than $15. Now you have to look and sort of do the math and figure that, or you just said, "Hey, you've been good. We're gonna get you a toy."
I said, "You've been good. We're gonna get you a toy.
Okay.
And whatever
And
toy
just
you
did that?
want."
Okay, I got you.
And she ended up picking a $5 toy.
That's awesome. That's awesome. My little dude, he's been into these things called Treasure X. So they're just a small box, and it's basically like plaster, but it's there's a cartoon on YouTube, but they're pieces. It's like a torso, 2 legs, 2 arms, a head, and a weapon, and a little treasure in there. And it's all in a block of plaster, and you got to dig into it. So dig out the pieces, and then you put it together, and then the treasure's in there, and it's got goop with a little treasure in it. He loves those things because you dig them out, you put them together, you collect all these things. He really is digging all that,
Well, she must like the girl version of that because she likes something that comes in like this egg-looking thing, and you open it up, and it's got sand in it, and you've got to grade through the sand. And,
Oh, cool.
And then you pull out different hidden objects in the sand. And I haven't really figured out the purpose of the toy itself, but she is completely enthralled by it.
At very least, I think the point of those toys are just to inspire discovery. To keep that creativity, that part of the brain going.
Like the unknown.
Yes, to keep looking for stuff, keep dwelling, keep digging. That's awesome.
That's awesome. Yeah, for sure.
But Dora the Explorer is not awesome.
No?
I don't like her.
Why? Because she's here illegally, or?
I don't know.
I saw the live action movie.
That's what I was thinking. That's what made me think about it. Was that live action movie looks like a big piece of shit.
It might
not be.
It was better than I thought it was going to be. Believe it or not, I was actually like, "Wow, this is kind of."
Who plays Dora?
Believe it or not, Harrison Ford.
Yeah, Harrison. The computer generation CGI shit, the deep fake stuff is great these days. I don't remember. Just some
girl
some random girl. I don't know.
Is this like Harrison Ford?
You want to know?
In Star Wars, or is this like Harrison Ford and
Indiana Jones? Indiana Jones. Yeah, that Harrison.
I mean,
Ford.
This basically Indiana Jones is what it is.
It's a weak cast. I'd never seen this girl, so I think they just found somebody they didn't have to pay a lot of money to, and hoping to build a star or whatever. But what are the
or pull her into the pedo ring.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. Oh, she's...
Let's not go down that rabbit hole.
Yeah. or let's, whatever. Hey, look, by the way, I figured out how to record with this webcam onto the computer, and we we can also record the audio immediately, but it won't sound as good quite as good as if I touch it up later.
Gotcha.
But anyway, it'd be really, really easy to sync because it's the same exact audio.
Yeah.
Cool. Anyway, so there we can do that now. It's way easier to sync. So I don't have to. I can still be lazy and hopefully get something done with it.
And off screen. Conveniently.
Oh, me? Well, yeah. I mean, I'm gonna have to put it somewhere where I can be seen.
I was thinking that same thing.
Yeah.
Well, I was actually thinking it because
That's quite convenient, Barrett.
well,
You can only see me touching myself.
these are pretty. They're only like these are like $39.99 or something. You can,
really?
You can connect, and they're just USB. So I can get USB extension cables and set 2 or 3 up,
Oh,
and then you
nice.
can use that thing
Switch
to do
angles.
scenes. And you click through scenes, and it'll just like I can just sit here, and if you start talking, I just click you,
So
and
we
it'll.
could use those for when we do the jiu-jitsu thing.
Yeah.
So we'll have one there, and we'll click to that versus us. You know, sometimes it'll just be us talking about it
Yeah.
whenever they're done.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, as long as my little laptop should be able to run that. I'm gonna mess with your mixer and kind of see because that'd be a cool little portable setup.
Yeah.
We do it at your house when the temperature gets cold enough, man. That'd be fun. Couple of these, couple of little tripods, few USB extension cables, Reaper, and we can do that pretty. I say easy. Still some technical bugs to work out, but that makes it a lot easier. Anyway, yeah. So
It's a party.
it's a potty, a podcast potty. Anyway, we've been going 2 hours.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get out of here soon.
Yeah.
So I hate to
Wrap it
cut
up.
it short, but
Wrap it up.
anything else you want to talk about? 'Cause I don't have to leave right now. I'm just putting
No,
an idea
man.
out there.
I think I've made enough of an ass myself, so we can wrap
Me
it.
too. Me too. That's cool. Well, I'm fixing to be back in school Monday, so every once in a while, if y'all are available, we'll try and get together on a weekend. if
Everybody,
possible.
dude, Ben is killing it in school. Just
Yeah,
to let y'all
kicking
know.
ass. Straight
Hey.
B's, yo.
Straight
pressure.
B's, baby. B's are what? They're passing.
Yeah.
That's what
No.
matters. Because
C's
I
are
ain't
what? Better than C's.
Yeah,
Better than
B's better
C's, yo.
than C's. But that's cool. And there was something else I wanted to talk about. I never forget everything. I need to make a list. We made a list the other day, and we
Yeah.
actually looked at it, and that was very helpful. But you know what I haven't done since then? Made a fucking
Made a list at all.
'Cause I'm an idiot.
Yeah. And I was
Whatever.
counting on you to make a list. So.
I appreciate that.
I
So
need to know about the list, so
if you
I
think
mean,
about it,
you-
I forgot
You
about
weren't
it.
really
even
kept
here.
me out the loop.
You weren't
so
even
thanks,
here,
guys.
so
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah.
You weren't even here.
Well,
Hey, before
yeah.
we leave too, I posted that other one. I'm gonna make sure y'all let me make sure it works. You know what I
Okay,
mean?
cool.
Like, don't
Yeah.
even forget. But all right, cool. Well, I guess we're gonna wrap it up then.
Yeah, man.
Thanks, guys, for letting me hang out in the purple shed.
Anytime.
Likewise, man. I appreciate it.
Purple shed. Does anybody know what number this is? I should probably know
Well,
that.
someone asked me the other day, and I had to give them a
We'll
very
say 13.
Published or unpublished?
Yeah, true. Because that's two
Right.
way different numbers. One of them's like 4 or 5 more.
yeah.
Yeah, I know. I don't know the number.
Because I had forgotten we had done some long time ago. And we were just like, let's not put that on.
Yeah.
I mean, or maybe I said that. Let's not put that on. I don't know.
I think we literally got like 20 minutes into one. We were like, you want to make music? Let's
yeah,
make music.
we've done
man.
that before. Yeah, we've done that before. Speaking of that, we need to do that again. One
sure.
day, man. Maybe
Yeah,
when
man.
Phillip.
Well, for sure. So
went out,
anytime
Ben.
you have an idea, something you want to talk on, send it to me, and I'll add it to the podcast list, or just make your own fucking list. Whatever you want to do. I don't mean that to be rude, but I'm not saying.
But I am, so-
I'm not. It makes me sound like I'm saying you have to send it to me so I can approve it for the list, and that's not what it is.
Oh,
But yeah,
I see.
yeah. See, it makes me sound like a dickhead, and that's not what I was
You
saying.
are. You're being a dick. No, I'm just kidding.
I was picking on kids with hearing aids earlier, so
That
imagine that.
was pretty dick.
Pretty dick move. I'm gonna go to Walmart.
All right,
Practice.
guys.
All right.
I'm gonna wrap it up.
Appreciate
All right,
you
man.
guys.
Bye, everybody. Purple Shed
Later.
Podcast number. We don't know. Bye.
Something.